Hello, welcome, and Wolf. Yes, welcome. It is Warhammer Sunday. And yes, we are going to be doing some good things today. But yes, welcome. Welcome on and all. We're here for the next 3 hours while I do some work and some building and waffle around. And you guys just do whatever you need to do in the background. Have me on playing in the background as an accompaniment to your daily Sunday activities, I suppose. But welcome. It's that time. Yes, before we get going, as always, quick shout out time, which is what I always do. Oh, hello. I know what I've not got. Hang on. That was my focus test. I didn't need that. Yeah, welcome. It's already gone wrong. Yes, welcome. Big shout out, first of all, to the people that make my content possible. They make this channel possible. That's, of course, first and foremost, my beautiful, lovely, wonderful patrons and channel members. My patrons, who are patrons over at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. And my lovely channel members who became members by hitting the join button underneath any one of my videos. Both those groups pay my wages, they keep the lights on, they keep food on my table and make it possible for me to make this channel my living. So massive thank you to them. If you want to help support this channel and keep it going and make sure I can keep it alive, please do consider becoming a member or a patron, whichever you prefer. Also, of course, a big shout out to my corporate supporters, emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk. There's some spanky little logos there. Both those stores are your one-stop shop for your... I'll say that again. Hang on, stop. Coffee. And scene. Both those stores are your one-stop shop for all your model making and gabletop. Oh, dear Lord. Hang on, more coffee. And scene. Both those... Forget it. Both those shops are your one-stop shop. Both those shops are your one... Jesus Christ, Fox, what are you on? Both those stores are your one-stop shops for all your tabletop and model making needs. So check out the links in the description below. Use those links. It tells them I sent you and I get some income from that. So do be a favour. Go and buy your bits and bobs from them and it'll help me out massively. I'm just going to stop now because this whole show's just gone to pot straight away, hasn't it? Yeah, I know, it's a nightmare. Yes, anyway, welcome to Warhammer Sunday. As always, I've got the chat here in front of me. I will be monitoring the chat as we go along, although when I've got my big lenses of seeing on, when I'm not throwing them around, they'll be all blurry. So do come and join the live chat if you're watching this embedded in Twitter or Facebook or somewhere else. Come and join the live chat. Come and watch it on YouTube. Click the YouTube icon in the bottom right of the screen. To YouTube where you can join in. If you are in chat and you want to get my attention, please do give me stuff to talk about and interact with me, because that's why I'm here, to give you give you guys a place to hang out. Feel free to put your comment, make it visible to me when I've got my lenses on, put it in big fat capital letters so I can see it from across the desk, or at me, at modelmakingguru. That makes it stand out. Or if you want to, you can do a super chat by clicking the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comments in a big colour box and puts an animation up in the screen up here somewhere and makes a noise, and I can't miss your comments then. So if you really want to make sure you get my comments, super chat. Also, that helps support this channel. So yes, we're going to crack on today, and you may have noticed we're doing a lot of silly wolf references. It's because we're doing Prophecy of the Wolf. Prophecy of the Wolf. Yeah, now I've not got the whole set. I have made a decision, and I'll tell you that in a minute. This came out, it was one of them box sets that came out, I think, last year, and it came out and then they sold it for about a month and then it disappeared. Or it was like one of them like short term, we don't produce it more than once kind of sets. And it's basically orcs and space wolves, and there you go. So Simon Reynolds, our very good friend Cy Reynolds, Golden Demon winner, he's done it twice, he's got 2 of them on his shelf. He was going to send me a mould, a cast of his Golden Demon, but he never got round to it. Doesn't really matter. But yes, Golden Demon winner Sam Reynolds, my good mate, sold me. We went halves on it. He got all the orc stuff because all he wanted was Gazgul and the orcs, and I said I'd buy the Space Wolves off him. So I've got all the Space Wolf parts from the Prophecy of the Wolf set to build. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to crack on with the Space Puppies. But I've made a decision. I've been umming and ahhing about it for a while, but you know, I was gonna, way back when, I was gonna do a Principality of Xeon themed army, and then I kind of, yeah, it never happened, and then I got sidetracked doing other things, and now I've got like 1 million Cadian troopers and a load of Tempestus Scions sitting around in my transport case waiting to be painted, and I kind of lost the vibe for the Principality of Xeon thing. So I'm just going to go where the mood takes me. I've got my Death Corps of Krieg that I need to get painted. They're ready to be painted and they're ready to be primed, some of them. So I've got Death Corps Krieg. They'll be built up, and I might just fold my Imperial Guard stuff into sort of a Death Corps kind of style. But I will need some Space Marines at some point, because I do intend to play, and I do intend to, at some point, absolutely kick the Raging Modeler's ass when we go down to Goblin Gaming and play some games on their gaming tables in Northwich. goblingaming.co.uk, your one-stop shop for your tabletop gaming needs. Ka-ching. So yes, and so I do intend to build up some Space Marines as well as Imperial Guards and stuff. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and I thought, you know what? I would never build Ultramarines. I would rather eat my own face with a side dish of my own face, sauteed, than have Ultramarines, because I'm not a chud. So I'm not going to have Ultramarines. However, I am dumb enough that I'd have Space Wolves, because I'm just an idiot. So there you go. So I'm going to build up some Space Marine forces. I've got loads of Space Marine dudes to build up to make a small force. I'm going to make them Space Wolves. So I've got these guys from the Prophecy of the Wolf set. I do have a million Space Marines from the Warhammer Conquest set, but they're for George, so I'm not counting them. They're for George. They'll go to him. So I may have accidentally sort of ordered the Combat Patrol Space Wolf set the other day. I know. So it's on, basically. I do need to make some Space Wolves. Now, I know the Combat Patrol set is basically just Intercessors and Hellblasters or whatever, with the extra sprue for the Space Wolves emblem. It's not particularly Space Wolfy, but hey, it's a start. I'll have a squad of Space Marines. I'll have my Death Corps and everything else. It's going to take me a while to get round to Death Corps painting, because I've got to build a couple of tanks for them. I've got to build the resin tanks that I've got. But for these guys, once I've got like a million Space Marines, I can kind of paint them more quickly. So at least, by the time the world stops being on fire and me and Adam can actually have a game, I'll at least have, if nothing else, I'll have some Space Marines ready to roll. So we're going to crack on. I did on Festa's stream on Friday, built Ragnar Blackmane, who is their Jarl. I can't remember exactly how the Space Wolf organisation works. It's not standard Space Marine. They have like the High King or the Wolf Lord. The funny thing is, they're not actually supposed to be called Space Wolves. They're supposed to be called Valkyr Fenrisir or something like that. It's supposed to be more like Space People, but there's all mistranslations and they're just kind of known as Space Wolves. So everything, and there's a lot of community makes out that every other word is wolf when it's not actually that's the case, but it just seems that way, so we all accept it. So he's like their Jarl. I think he's he runs the great house that is the Blackmane guys with the yellow pauldron and the black wolf's head. So I've got him. I may as well build this squad, my Space Wolves, as him. So it's the classic blue and gold and yellow colour scheme. So I've got him built. His head's under there, under some tape. For the first time ever, when I paint this guy, and for the other guys, I might actually paint the head separately. I know I don't normally do that, but they've got all intricate bits on the heads, so I might paint them separately. So we've got Ragnar Blackmane done. I need to clean up his cloak, so we'll do that first. And then I've got all the other sprues to build these guys, to make this. I think, how many have we got? We get 10 infiltrators or 10 incursors, and I don't know which to do yet because I've not got the data sheets. Syra didn't give me the data sheets, so I'll probably do the infiltrators because I like the look of them with the antennas and aerials, which will make transporting them a pain in the arse. I think the incursors are more like explosives and maybe, I don't know, I don't really know the difference. I'll figure it out. Anyway, they look better, so I'll go for them. But I have decided, I have got a few Space Marine vehicles, but the problem with Space Marines now is you've got a choice of old-style Space Marines or modern Primaris Space Marines. The problem with Primaris Space Marines is they can't use old-style vehicles. So there's something like 50 or 60 kits available for Space Marine vehicles. For Primaris, there's like 2 or 3. And it's the repulsor, the other one, the floating tank thing. That's the only option you've got. So you could build up an army with a mix of old and new style Marines, but it kind of is going to get really confusing because they've got different codices. So I'm just going to stick to Primaris Marines. I've got some Primaris Marines ready, and I've got these. I've got some coming. I may as well just stick to Primaris. So I'm going to be limited on vehicles and stuff, but we'll get there. We'll get there. By the time I actually get to play a game, we'll be on like 12th edition anyway, so I don't want to. I've not bought a codex yet because I'll buy it and then never use it, and it'll go out of date. So, yes. This is what happens when you don't, eat, says Mayhem. And Wolfhammer Sunday, Fox, put your teeth in. Puppy, says Lord High Bobbins. Welcome, Lord High Bobbins. I have leftover pork fried rice and fried dumplings, says Timothy Kalako, which is the most important fact in the entire chat so far. Pork fried rice. Today's Warhammer Sunday special guest is none other than Celestine, the Living Saint. She'll be sharing her famous Prometheum and Bolter brownie recipe. Ooh. Happy gas mask noises, says Timothy. Yes. It was missing some heavy metal music. This is true. We need an Astartes level Imperial Guard series. Alpha Wolf, says Panzer. Them's fighting words. B Key, says Radio Modeler. Drinking game. Read the Space Wolf Codex and take a shot every time the word wolf is mentioned. And Ghost Lyle is in and says pineapple, 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 pineapple wolf. Yes. So today we're just going to be building. We're going to go for the infiltrators because I've just decided on purely cosmetic grounds. That's how I play my games. So basically, we've done this a million times before. We're going to build Space Marines. So yeah, so let's get cracking. So that's the plan anyway. I'm going to have, for my own personal armies, I'm going to have the Imperial side with like Death Corps and Imperial Guard and Scions. And then I'm going to have the Space Marine side, which is going to be Space Puppies. Also, I do have a couple of 3D printed parts to modify an Imperial Knight into a Space Wolves Knight. So yeah. But let's get started. Let's get started. We've got to do 2 of them, 2 of them, 2 of them, 2 of them, 2 of them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 dudes. 10 dudes. Right, follow steps. Got to read the words now. Let's have a look at the words. The words. Let's read the words. Follow steps 2 to 6 for all variants. 2 to 6 for all variants, yes. And we want, what do we want? I've forgotten what I said we was going to have now. Infiltrators. Infiltrators. Yes. Right, let's build some infiltrators. So we need to have. I need to. Oh, hang on. Does it matter which torso I put with which body here? Yes, it does. It does call out certain ones. Okay, right. So I have a plan. I know it's me and a plan. Makes no sense. Frankie Goes to Hollywood says, guys, don't forget your thumbs up for Fox. Thank you very much. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the video. Helps my video get listed better in YouTube listings. Helps me get seen by more peeps. Right, so we need pieces 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, that's it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we have to find pieces 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's going to be the same sprue twice. No. No, you see, I assumed. And when you assume, it is the same. Yeah, it is actually the same sprue twice. It's just the same sprue twice each time. Oh well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Boots and socks and boots and socks and boots and socks. 5, 11, 7, 8, 4. There we go. Right, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 1. There we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and boots and socks and boots. Anyway, yes, hello everybody. We hope you're all well today. Hope you're all having a good weekend so far. It is approximately minus 480 degrees in here today. So I do have many layers on today. I've discovered the last couple of days the only way I can survive without actually dying of hypothermia is to wear all the trousers, basically, and all the t-shirts. So currently, I am rocking 2 t-shirts, a hoodie, and 2 pairs of pyjama, thick cotton slobby, you know, like the kind of thick cotton pyjama pants that you can just wear around the house, like a slobby pants. It's 2 pairs of those. And my big thick woolly socks, and I'm still cold. 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. So I'm a little bit warmer than I was earlier on, but it's still bloody cold. So I normally have my big thick floofy dressing gown on as well for extra warmth, but I can't have that on while I'm here because it's just got big thick floofy sleeves, and all you'd see is me. I can't work. I was trying to do the live stream yesterday when I was playing Skyrim, and the difficulty is that I have the controller and I have the headphones lead coming out of the controller, but because of my big thick floofy dressing gown, of course I'm trying to play with the controller on my lap, but it's kind of sticking out everywhere and it's pushing the controller, the headphones string, and it's like, oh. So yes, it's very weird. It's very, very cold. Boots and socks and boots and socks. We'll get these bits cut off. Yes, I think I'll stick to Primaris Marines. I do have a couple of things of old style Marines, but And I've got my brother got me that vehicle that I built in the last couple of weeks. But I'll just do that as a display model, I think. Because that's the problem. Unless they retrofit stuff, unless they retrofit it in the storyline, Primaris can't use old style marine vehicles, which is a shame, really. Because there's a lot of kits out there. But whether it's in the fluff, whether it's just because they're too big or too heavy, I don't know. There's bound to be some nonsense fluff reason. And we need two 32mm bases. What I do like in this set, which I've never seen before, is it does give you a little size guide but bases. But of course, when I'm doing these, I don't get the big 80mm base because I don't have Gazgul Threcker, whatever his name is. I just have the Space Marine dudes. The 32mm base is, I know anyway, but just to demonstrate, standard dude size base. Ragnar Blackmare went on there. So there you go. So a couple of them I need. Yeah, so I may have accidentally yesterday. Oh, I'll tell you what else I've got. I also have, if I can find them, I've got more on order. First of all, I have a whole mess of Space Wolves transfers that come with this kit. I also have some more Space Wolves transfers that I can't remember where they came from. Although they might come from this kit. And I think they come from this kit. And I don't know. I've got them. But I've also got, that I bought about a year and a half ago, I've got the Forge World Space Wolves decal sheet. Now, the problem with this is it's Horus Heresy. So they look a bit different. But, yeah, they're all Space Wolves. They're slightly different colours. I don't care. You've got lots of puppy heads and markings and designs. So I've basically got a batrillion markings that I can use all over my Space Wolves now. We got that one. So I have yesterday ordered, I ordered the combat what's it called now? Combat Patrol. There was a Start Collecting Space Wolves set that was 50 space pounds. And if you're not familiar with the Start Collecting sets, there's a few left now, but the Start Collecting sets are incredibly fantastic value. They're stupid crazy value. I think the Orc one is it might be a Combat Patrol. No, the Start Collecting Orcs I think is 50 quid, but one of the models alone is worth 30 quid. So they're stupid value. But they are being replaced with Combat Patrols, because in the new 9th edition, if I remember rightly, Combat Patrol is the smallest force you can field in a game. It's the smallest force you can use in a regular game of 40k. So they're a little bit smaller than the old Start Collecting. But the idea is that you get a whole load of kits and models for a reduced price. So the original Start Collecting Space Wolves was like some dudes and some guys on the back of Fenrisian wolves, you know, the riders, the mounted ones that ride around on them. These guys don't have motorbikes, they have big wolves they ride around on, basically. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. But yeah, the old Start Collecting was quite good, but it's old style Space Marines, which is no use to me. So I've ordered the Combat Patrol, which I think is 25 power or 500 points of Space Wolves. And it's basically 10 dudes. I think it's 10 dudes, it's a 10 Primaris. I can't remember the makeup now. There's 10 Primaris. Oh god, I can't remember the stupid names they've got. 10 of the rank and file dudes. There's 1 lieutenant. There's 5 other guys that you can make into. It's really complicated. There's a kit of 10 dudes you can get specifically some Space Wolves that's like 50 quid, or you can get this thing with like 5 of those dudes in that you can make into those dudes. Anyway, so I've ordered that set. It's 10 rank and file dudes, 5 other dudes, a lieutenant, and the Invictus dreadnought thing, the mobile suit, effectively, I suppose it is. Which is pretty good. Now, I picked mine up from Goblin Gaming. Normally it's like 85 quid, but I picked mine up from Goblin Gaming. If you didn't know, the thing with Goblin Gaming is it's 20% off RRP for all Games Workshop. So rather than pay 85 quid for the Start Collecting set, for the Combat Patrol set from GW, I paid something like £63 for the set. So I also got some more decals, just to make sure. I've got that set coming in the next day or two. The Combat Patrol and these. So I reckon, you know, once I've got all these built, it won't take long to paint them, because Space Marines don't take that long to paint. Once you've got one done, if you do them all at the same time. I did paint 10 Space Marines for George, the ones he's got with his Imperial Knight, and that took me a couple of days. Painting them all in one go. Not a long job. Once I've got them, I get them all painted up, and then I've actually got a force that I can use in a game at some point. Now, of course, we don't know when everything's going to be opened up again. I don't know when I'm next going to be able to go to visit Goblin Gaming. But the plan is that at least myself and Adam will go along, and I will have my first, I mean, I think Adam's played before, but I will have my first ever proper game of Warhammer 40k. I'll have to get a codex, of course, and it'll be the slowest game ever because I won't know what the hell I'm doing. Adam will be fielding his Orc army. He was going to fight my Death Corps, but I suspect my Death Corps won't be done by then. It may just be Space Marines. But I should have a good, I don't know, 50 points. 50, I don't know how it works, really. Probably a good, I assume this will come out at a good 250, 500, maybe 500 points or something. Could be. We'll figure it out. Of course, I haven't got any vehicles, but hey. By that time, I might have got myself some vehicles. But yeah, with Primaris, the only vehicles you've got, there is a dedicated, like, the motorbike thing. There's the quad ATV and the motorbike, I suppose. But in terms of vehicles like troop transports, you've literally got the Repulsor, the Impulsor, or the other one that's a variant of the same thing. So, yeah, it's all you've really got, sadly. The Orcs is 45, and it's stupid. The Death Dread is 35. Yeah, says the Raging Modeler. Yeah, the Orcs one is like 45 to 50 quid. You get something like 10 Orcs, 10 or 12 or 15 Orcs, various bits and bobs. And then you get the Death Dread, which is like the bloke in the power suit. And that on its by itself is 35 quid. And yet you get that with 10 other dudes. So some of those, if you wanted to dip, I need to sniffle, hang on. If you want to dip your toe into Warhammer, but you don't want to spend a fortune straight away because you're not sure, pick a faction you like the look of and get the start collecting sets, if there's still one available. Because they are stupid, stupid value. Like the Cadian one, the Astra Militarum Cadian one, you get a Lehman Russ, and you get Lehman Russ, 10 Imperial Guard, and I think 2 or 1 heavy weapon sets. And the Lehman Russ itself is 35 quid. And again, that start collecting set was 55 quid. So they're a great way to dip your toe. If you're not sure, great way to dip your toe and see what it's like to make and build and paint a Warhammer kit. Than going out, and buying those units individually. They work best if you're doing an army that's got lots of grunt troops, like Astra Militarum, where the rank and file soldiers are like, they just got cardboard armor and flashlight weapons, and then you just have to buy millions of them. They are quite cheap, but yeah, they're more than worth it, those sets. But they are being phased out for the Combat Patrol sets instead. So, like, there was the Space Wolves one, but now there's a Combat Patrol. The Space Wolves start collecting no longer exist. You can't, not officially anyway. You'll find it online, but it is the old style Marines anyway. Burpage, I thank you. So yeah, so my the Combat Patrol should be turning up in the next 2 or 3 days. That'll go into quarantine for a few days. So by the time we built these, I should be able to continue building my Space Puppy. We'll get all those guys built up, and then they can go away into storage until I can get around to painting them. Yeah. You remember the whole point of these Sunday streams is this is the chance I get to build stuff, because going forward I'm not going to be filming builds. When I do videos from now on, it's going to focus on the painting side of things, unless it's a specific build I need to show, like, a resin thing or a specific part of a build that I need to show someone, teach them. For the most part, my videos now are just going to be painting guides, because filming a build adds like weeks and weeks to the actual building of it, and I'd rather just get that bit done before I film, basically. Sundays is when I get my building done. I don't get a lot of time during the week. So this is my building time. It is the wolf time. It's the building time. Now this will be a slow build because I'm taking my time with these. I had such an enjoyable time on Friday. If you don't know, Colin's building his Baneblade. Colin over at Festi67's workshop. Building his Baneblade, and we've done a couple of midnight Friday streams. It's 11:59 on Friday nights. And I started building these, and I built Ragnar Blackmane. It was great fun, but I was going really carefully because he's a named character, and it's a character figure, not just a rank and file Space Marine. I took my time with it, and it was delightfully enjoyable. So I'm taking my time with these guys. So today we might just get a few legs glued onto a few bases, and that might be about it. See how it goes. But why have I chosen Space Wolves? Not because I'm a secret furry. No, not at all. Not for any other reason. But purely because I like the colour scheme. I like the pale blue. And I like the gold, and I like the designs and the yellow. It just works really nicely for me. Now it has popped up, but it hasn't popped up on screen yet. Anytime now. Anytime now. Did it pop up and didn't make a noise? That would be annoying. Anyway, Andy McLeish puts £2 through as a super chat and says, Space Puppy! Thank you very much, Andy. That's very kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've paid for me to get a sandwich. Oh yes. Self a sandwich with that. Or some sort of food stuff. Or that will get me a pot of paint, a pot of Citadel paint, actually. That'll pay for some paints. I've got some paints coming. Very nice. Thank you very much. It is muchly appreciated. I don't know why it didn't. Did it pop up on screen but didn't make a noise? Do tell me. Have I got that bit turned off? Hang on. You dumb schmuck.
Slap it on.
Hang on. Technical issues. Well, my buttons have gone to sleep now anyway. But yes, I had the alerts turned off. You dumb schmuck. Oh well, there we go. Well, I've turned it back on again now. Somebody's been going into my Streamlabs and tweaking the settings. So apologies, I didn't notice it straight away there, Andy. I normally wait for the noise and then I hear it. Thank you very much, though, Andy. Very, very kind of you. For those that didn't see it, it would have popped up on there. Andy McLeish put a little £2 super chat in there, so thank you very much. Not little, it's very big, but a lovely £2 super chat. I'll shut up now. I'm just waffling. I'm being flagged. I'm going to try and get my boys painted next week. I'm trying to stick to build and paint one unit at a time. So it's a Raging Modeler. There you go. Depends how you want to do it. If you want to do, depends how deeply you want to paint them. If you want like display level for every single individual, that you could do that. Take your time with them. A lot of people do the main characters carefully painted, and the rank and file get a quick paint job. I don't know if I can do that though. I don't know if I can do that. I think I want them to all look nice. It might take me a while. I've played before, but in 3rd edition, says Raging Modeler. It says Adam. Yeah, I've never played before. I've played one single game of Dakar Rally, which is basically orc rules, but any vehicle you want, and all the rules are just ridiculous. And that was a silly open day fun game, and it made no sense at all. You're welcome, says Mayhem. Thank you. Hang on, clear my throat. There was a thing in there. I had to cough it out. You arse, says Mayhem. I know. Oh. Coffee. I can't help being special. I was just made special in the special factory of special ingredients. If I was a beer, I'd be a pint of special. Shut up. That joke is probably illegal in several places. I do like the look of this armour, this specific armour. I don't know if this is bog standard Space Marine, Primaris Marine armour. This is more like the kind of Who are the guys with the I don't know the flipping, not the, I don't know the words. The ones that are more little commando types. They have the more casual armour. Not Gravis armour, it's the, I don't know. I've forgotten all the words because they're all meaningless anyway. Not Hellblasters. The guys that are slightly more commando-y. They have lighter looking armour. And like the pauldrons have got a corner cut out. That's what I think who these guys are. They're all those kind of, it's all that kind of armour, which is not the standard. I don't know what Gravis armour, I don't know any of it. Anyway, let's move on because, shut up, beer all day. Reavers, that's it, Reavers, I think it's Reavers, the Reaver armour. I like it, it's quite casual. Reavers, it says Mayhem, yes, the one. Made up nonsense, I don't know. It's just got a more casual, logical look to it. It looks less silly sci-fi, more like actual armour that somebody would. It's more like a kind of Spartan armour. They're finishing this fight. Master Chief, mind telling me what you're doing on that ship? Finishing this fight. Worst game ending ever. I don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go. I can't tell you, when I was not into games as a young lad. I played a few games on PC. I did play Dark Forces on PC when it came out, and I think Medal of Honor Allied Assault. But I wasn't really into games. I kind of dabbled with them. I had no real interest in games, not massively. I did play Half-Life. I didn't have a computer that was kind of gameplay level anyway. Also, it wasn't really my thing. You know, we had a SNES and stuff. I'd dabble in them. But then, 2001 came the day. I was aware of the Xbox, but only tangentially because I wasn't into games. And I was walking through my local town, walked past my local. See, in those days, it was Dixon's and Curry's were two different stores. And where I was, there were the Dixon's and the Curry's like two doors down from each other. I think I think it might have been Dixon's. They had their front door open, and like the door was here, and that like literally 10 feet back from the front door was a little display area. There's like a shelf unit here, and there's a thing. And on that one was a TV facing out the door with the sizzle mode, with the tracked mode on from Halo, with an Xbox connected to it. This was in 2001 when the original Xbox launched. And I was walking down the street, and I walked past, and I heard this music, and I'm like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, "What is this? What is this I'm hearing now?" And then I looked in the window, and I saw this, game, and I'm like, "Ooh, this." Bit of picture. So I thought that looks interesting. Well, I looked at it, and it said the words on the screen, and I went, I'll keep a note of that. And then I went on and did my shopping or whatever I was doing in town. Went home, and I went onto the internet, because in them days I had a fledgling internet, and it was the dial-up job. And I thought, I'll go on, I'll look this up. What is this Halo? What is this shenanigan? And I stumbled across this website called GameSpot, and it had a little review. And this was a video review, which took me about 2.5 hours. It was like in 340p. It's probably still there. It was in 340p, and a little video review. And I'm like, ooh, let me learn about this game. I looked at some of the pictures, and I like these pictures. And again, I knew nothing about games at this point. Remember, I'd played a few things. And I watched this video review, and if you watch it back now, it's terrible. It's just the worst thing in the world. But I was like, I think I might want this game. I don't know anything about the game or the Xbox. I've never even. Well, I had played a couple of games. Well, actually, I tell a lie. I had played. Mama Fox got a PS2. I don't know why. Dad got Mama Fox a PS2. And on that, I had Half-Life, not Blue Shift. What was the one that came out on PS2? The one where you play a different scientist. I remember. Anyway, I played that and I played Red Faction. And it took me a while. The first thing I did was hate the idea of using twin sticks for first-person controls, but I got used to it. So I've had a little bit of a teaching in the how to use twin sticks. And thought, oh, I went back to Dixon's the next day. And I walked out with an Xbox. Yeah, pretty much. I just it just impulsed by. And then from that moment, I was hooked. That was my jam. Halo, original Xbox. That was serious business. From that point on, within about 3 to 6 months, all my friends, none of whom had any interest in gaming at all got Xboxes and all got Halo because I got them into it. In the same way that I'm getting Colin into Games Workshop accidentally. I may have kind of ended up with all my mates playing Halo, and we used to have regular Halo sessions and everything. And that was my main jam for many years. And I'd sit here, I'd come home from work, and I would sit and I would play Halo solo. There was no online in the original one, and I didn't have an internet powerful enough to play anything anyway through any of the gateways. So I just played it solo. Many, many times. For like 2 or 3 years, I would literally come home from work, sit down, play Halo. At the weekend, play Halo. I have stormed the control room so many times. To the point that I was breaking the levels every time by, trying to work my way through. So anyway, yes. I've probably forgotten most of them now, but I know a lot of the dialogue. It was burned into my brain. And every time a game came out, it was like, yeah, it's alright, but it's not Halo. And then Halo 2 came out, and it's like, Then Halo 3 came out, and it's like, And then I kind of grew away from Halo at that point. Nothing was the same as that first Halo to someone who'd not played games. If you play it now, it's you play it with an experience of games, it's totally different. But then, at the time, in context of the time, it was revolutionary. Blew my tiny little dinosaur brain, it did. I've never really captured that again. That's a shame. Never really recaptured that. There are games that I love, but I've never been able to capture that wonderment and amazement that kept me playing that game over and over. And I mean, how many times do you play a single first-person shooter with a fixed number of levels over and over and over again for years and years? I'd literally turn on the Xbox and be like, Assault on the Control Room, 2 Betrayals. Because there are huge levels and I could explore, and I could use the Banshee trick to get the Banshee early in Assault on the Control Room. Things like that. Just can't explain it how it felt to play that game at the time. I say playing it now, or if you've got any experience of games, you wouldn't feel anything like that. But I think we must all have at some point. We must all have a game like that we played that's been our first experience of a game that's really amazed us. Often for us, it's when we're younger and it's our first real few games. So with me, Halo was the first proper game I really got into. I was still young and naive. So what were your you never forget your first love, as it were. Seeing as it's Valentine's Day, let's say you never forget your first love. Mine was Halo. What was your first game that blew your mind and kept you coming back for more over and over and over again? What was it? Like big games like Skyrim and Fallout, they can keep you coming back for years because there's so much. But a simple first-person shooter with a few levels, for that to keep me coming back year in, year out, there's got to be something going on there. Got to be something going on. I shall have a look at chat in a moment. What was your first love game? It's weird. Going forward, I even lamented the fact that the visuals in Halo 2 and Halo 3 and onwards never looked as good to me as the visuals in Halo 1. Now, if you look at Halo 1 now with its original graphics, you'd laugh at that and be like, "What? they're terrible. They're primitive. But the thing with the Halo graphics was they were just less, I don't know, there was a certain clarity to them, a certain simplicity to them. Like if you look at the plasma rifle or the plasma pistol in Halo 1, it was just kind of, it was this solid looking reflective shiny thing. I'm just going in, by the way, all the bits of undersuit that are all ribbed, like the joints, I'm going in with my scribing tool and just taking the mould line out. I've just remembered I've not been doing that. Taking the mould line out from between the little ribs. Yeah, so like the plasma pistol in Halo 1, on a CRT, it was on a TV at the time, don't forget, in 480p, looked like a solid thing with shinies. But yet Halo 2 and 3, it looked like a computer, it looked like just graphics. It looked scratchy and, I don't know, something changed. Everything looked smooth and shiny in Halo 1. Halo 2 and 3 onwards, they just kind of looked a bit, it's like computer graphics, really. There's no mould line in there that I need to worry about. In that bit of... Yeah, when you've got things like ribbed stuff like undersuits or plasma coils and things, get yourself the scribing tool. It's a brilliant way to get rid of mould lines that are in little recesses like that without destroying the ribbed texture. If you try sanding it to get rid of the mould line, by the time you get rid of the mould line, you've got rid of the texture. I do recommend you get yourself the scribing. Yeah. What were your first love video games? What gave you eyes like dinner plates? I mean, I have to say that playing Red Faction, I think the first game I ever actually properly played, first person shooter, was Red Faction on the PlayStation 2. Give it up, Miner! And that was my first experience, I think, of playing a first person shooter with analog sticks. And I was like, whoa, because I had played things like Duke Nukem on the original PlayStation, but they weren't analog stick, twin stick. They weren't traditional controls. So yeah, and the first thing, my brain was like, I can't play this. I was actually like, can't play this rubbish game. The controls are rubbish. Why would you use two sticks to walk? It's just rubbish. You left this one to move, and that one is nonsense. About a week later, I'm like, this is instinctive. It's the best control scheme ever. And then I kind of got the instinctive feel for using analog sticks. And now it's absolutely instinctive now. Which is why I always get frustrated at games like GTA or Red Dead Redemption, where they have these weird, or any game where you take a well-known control scheme like analog stick first-person shooting, and you then change it. It's like, why would you fix something that's not broken? Then again, Rockstar have never been able to do control schemes anyway, so I need to put these in something. I'm having them sitting around. It's probably a bad idea. Bits. In other news, I'll look at the chat in a second. In other news, I have had some other things ordered. I've had a bit of an ordering week this week. Like I say, I did order the Combat Patrol, Space Wolves, Space Puppies Combat Patrol. That should be with me in the next few days. It should be available to play with by next Sunday, for next Sunday's show, at least, or within a week or so. I also made some practical orders after, I think Paul Lyons put in chat on Colin's show on Friday a link for, we mentioned about Tamiya masking tape. And I mentioned about the fact that I'd remembered that Tamiya seemed to do a sheet of masking tape. I've seen somebody use it on a video once. A sheet of masking tape that you can cut up into whatever shape you want if you're making like templates for spray masks and things like you want a pattern. And I'd never seen it. So Paul Lyons, and it turns out it's one of those things, I've never seen it, but it's just on Amazon, if you actually bother to look. So Paul Lyons, I think it was. Apologies if it wasn't. Might have been Felice, I can't remember. Sent me and Colin a link. So I've ordered 10 sheets of masking paper, decal masking tape. It's basically a sheet, I think it's like A4 size or something, or it might be A5 size. Where if you want, let's say I had an aircraft wing and I wanted to paint like a wing, like an angel wing on it or something, like the Valkyrie, where you can have the Imperial wing. You could mask it off with bits of tape, or I could just cut the design out. that kind of thing. So it might be kind of handy. I've ordered one of those, or 10 sheets of that. I've also ordered, finally, I've got round to ordering myself some vernier calipers. So it's the little thing where you slide, you've got little teeth and you slide it like that to measure stuff. You do that, don't you? You slide it like that, and you can measure things like diameters, internal and external diameters, and measure. Because all I've got is a couple of metal rulers and they're rubbish. I've got myself coming some vernier, little cheap vernier calipers, and a little circle cutter. Because when I was doing the Baneblade, I kind of reached the point where I got sick of having to cut circles out and then just manually trim them and sand them to the right size. Especially for things like barrels in 40k, it's like, oh. Because I will be doing more Baneblades in the future. And I want a quick and easy way to cut circles out to cover up the barrels, the fuel barrels. So I've ordered myself a little cheap circle cutter. Now they're both cheap, the vernier calipers and the circle cutter. I'm sure they'll probably break within a week or be not that great, but they'll be fine. So finally, I can cut little circles out. As long as I think the minimum size is a millimetre. Can't remember what the minimum size is now. As long as they're bigger than, or at least as small as, a couple of millimetres or something. A mil or something, I can't remember. I'll get this leg done, and then we'll have a look at the chat and see what you're saying about your first love games. I don't know if I assuming that Dad has actually asked the question. I shall make that assumption, and I shall also therefore check your bench and belly answers. For me, belly, of course, is nothing. I've had nothing but coffee this morning. I don't tend to do breakfast. If I do breakfast, it's a bowl of oatmeal porridge. I've got big bags of rolled oats, and I make porridge. It takes 2 seconds, and it's filling and healthy. It'll be a bowl, but it's so cold at the minute that I really can't be bothered going and doing anything in the kitchen because it's minus 1,000 degrees in there. So I've not had anything to eat so far today. And coffee. And on the bench, of course, I've got my space puppies. Space puppies. Puppies in space. It is quite funny though in the lore for Space Wolves that because of various poor translations and misunderstandings by Games Workshop, they're not really supposed to be called Space Wolves. They either call themselves the Route, because they used to be real hardcore, kill everything that moves Space Marines. They're now a bit more noble than that, apparently. Or they used to be called I'm going to get this wrong, it's the Volkia Fenricia, which is, their home planet is, well, their base is on a planet called Fenris. And Volkia Fenricia, or something, whatever it is, I can't remember it quite right, means, from I think the Old Norse or the Old Scandic tongue, it translates, or Croatian or something, it translates as people of Fenris. And because they occasionally use Old Norse words and terminology, and some Croatians and Eastern Europeans, they technically would be the space people, not the space wolves. But that makes them sound like they're going to turn up and set up a fun fair. That's not quite as scary. Even within their own lore, it's not quite correct. That's Games Workshop for you. I just like them I don't know that much about them. I'm not into Space Wolves because I like the lore. I'm not into Space Wolves because I have a thing for wolves, although, I like wolves and stuff. I just like them because I like the colour scheme. And the pale blue and the yellows and golds. It just works for me. I like it. I like it. I do. Can't get this mould line out. It's being a bit tricksy. Oh, out you come. Hope you can see all this. All you can see is the back of my hand. I know. Not ideal. I can't really put the camera on top over here though, because then it'll be in the way of my entire face, which is the problem. Cleaned. That's that bit done. We'll have a quick look at chat, and then we'll do some gluations. Bits. Ooh, bits. Ow, stabbity with the plastic, thank you. Right, where are we up to? Will you get more than one built today? No. Hi, Colin. Colin's in. Festa67's workshop. No, I've got to build 10 sets of torsos on bases. I'll be lucky if I get through. That's 2. I'll be lucky if I get. That's 2 dudes to put on a base. I've not even get that far yet, so I might get a couple of them done. Ivo Lim says the doggo picture really got me. It's good, isn't it? Unfortunately, on Facebook's so rubbish. I put the stream up, and then I thought I need to put a space puppet in the thumbnail. So I'd already linked to it on Facebook, so I deleted the post, changed the thumbnail on YouTube, and posted it everywhere on the internet. And everywhere on the internet is fine, but on Facebook, once it downloads the thumbnail for a link, it sticks with that, and you have to do a thing to get Facebook to physically change the thumbnail and update it. If you ever upload something and you've got a thumbnail and then you want to change the thumbnail, on Facebook it doesn't always work. If you want to know how to do it, you click on the little 3 dots when you've done your post, and there's like request something, and the bottom option is something like reload the cached image or something, and it reloads it, but for some reason Facebook can never pick up the new thumbnail from YouTube. So on Facebook, the thumbnail doesn't show the dog. Pain in the bum. Yes, Colin's in. Welcome, Colin, my friend. Big Colin hugs, Festa hugs, and Dad hugs, and Chris hugs. Yeah, we had a good time on Friday. If we're doing a stream next Friday, Colin will have much news about his Baneblade for you. He will. I hear Commando, and for some reason I have an image of Fox in his fluorescent green mankini in my head. What, doing like an Arnie voice? Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper now! Don't I look good in my little mankini? Yes. No. Relaxing armour for Weekend Warrior, says EC Idaho. Welcome, EC Idaho. Max McGinn. Phobos armour, that's the one. Yes, thank you. I can't remember. Phobos army. Catachan, says Timothy. No, they're the commando types. They're the actual commando types. I do have a slime arbo. I need to make that point. The standard troops will be done pretty well, says Raging Model about his orcs. But the bosses or named people will have that extra bit more care. There you go. Well, the thing is, it's going to be so long before we actually get to play a game, you could paint all your troops with the same level of care. I probably will. Blind from Mental Picture, says EC Idaho. Hi, folks in chat. Remember them thumbs, please, says Colin. Thank you very much. I'm back with food, says William Rayborn. Now, William, we've had this conversation. This is where the stream stops now. We've had this conversation. I'm back with food. There's certain information missing from that comment, and the amount of information is all of it. We need to know the food details. Oh, what food? Tell us everything about the food you can. I need to live vicariously through your foods. That's all I want to talk about, your food. I'm already hungry by the time the stream starts. I may as well just make it worse. So by the time it gets to dinner time, I'm so hungry I eat everything. Never leave anything on the plate. Paul Di Tommaso is in. Morning, everyone. How are you all? Thank you. Welcome, Paul. Dixon's, there's the days. You probably know that Dixon store, but I'm not going to say where it is because, obvious reasons. Fox is an enabler, says EC Idaho. There is no way that Festa 67's workshop would agree with that. Oh. George in. Oh, George is in. Hey, George. How you doing, my friend? Welcome. Nice to see you. Don't see you on the streams very often, so welcome. My stomach's making all the rumbling noises. It's terrible. Welcome, George. Nice to see you. Very, very nice. I played Halo, says EC Idaho. Good lad. I played Halo 3, says Ian's Car. I played Halo CE and Halo 2 back to back the first time I played them, so I liked Halo 2 better. Yeah. I mean, Halo 2 was all right, but just visually, it seemed more, I don't know, it seemed like a visual downgrade to me. The clarity in the original Halo, because everything was simple, was much more, I don't know. Doggo picture really got me, says Ivo. Welcome, Ivo. Pokemon, says Nimcinderin. That was the game that got her. Panzer says not taking that bet. I wasn't going to get an Xbox at all, says George, until I played the Halo demo with a friend at the local software, etc. I immediately pre-ordered the machine. Exactly the same with me. I saw it, and I have to give credit to Marty O'Donnell. It was the music that drew me in. That guy knows what the hell he's doing. So I looked at it and thought, ooh. And then I walked in and said, I want to give you £500, please. And they went, okay, here's an Xbox. The first console I ever owned. My original Xbox. I've still got it somewhere, but it's long broken now. My original Xbox in my cabinet is a modern, hacked, broken up. It's got a modern hard drive and a million different games on it and stuff. And I love it because not only can I play original AF Halo, because when you get the remastered versions of Halo, you can't do the Banshee trick to get the early Banshee on Assault on the Control Room. It's rubbish. You can't get that Banshee down from the ledge with the rocket launcher. It's like, because then you go through the rest of the level in a Banshee. That bit with the bridge, we have to go across the bridge in the big gaping chasm. You can go across that with the Banshee, get up in the rafters, and start sniping all the hunters and stuff. Oh, great fun. Great fun. So I can play that on my modded Xbox. I can also play, for the first time in 10 years, 15 years, Medal of Honor Frontline. Oh, so good. So good. Hey, Jimmy, get across this bridge. So good. But the only problem with it is the music's balked. Whether it's the one, what basically happened, it came with a load of games installed and the music wouldn't work on Medal of Honor Frontline. You get 10 minutes into the level and the music would just stop. And I read somewhere that it's because it's a kind of like a ripped version of the game and it's not quite the same. So I got my copy of it. I've got the copy of the game and I put that in and installed it. But it still does it. So it's something to do with being modded. It might be because it's a modern disk drive that operates at a different speed or at something, and maybe the streaming of the music. So I was playing through like the Shipyards of Lorient level and I didn't have the beautiful, beautiful music playing. The soundtrack is fantastic. It's still a great game to play, but I was quite sad. So I had to have the music playing on my computer while I was playing the game. It made me a bit sad. Oh, just in the carpet. Yeah, so I can now play Medal of Honor Frontline, and I would love to stream it. But I've got no way to connect my Xbox, my old Xbox, to my Elgato, because I do have my original high-def cable pack from my original Xbox, which allows me to do 1080p and 720p from component to whatever. But there are no good cables to allow you to export, to take that component signal and put it through HDMI into the back of my Elgato card, because 99% of the time they're garbage and the cable itself just doesn't work properly and you lose. That's the one thing. You get these old consoles a lot of the time, if you just stick an HDMI adapter on the back, it doesn't work. I spoke to the guys and they were saying, well, we sell all these cables, but they're kind of garbage. If you've got the original HD pack, just put it in your TV's got a component in. Just use that. You'll get the best possible quality image out of it. And I'm like, yes. Where are we up to? World of Warcraft, says Paul Di Tommaso for his eye-opening game. Tekken 3, says Max McGinn. Never been into fighting games. Pokemon Emerald, says Pascal Leverse. Let's have a look. What else? Let's have a look. Minecraft, says Eon's Car. Wow, you're that young, eh? We had a toy store and the box of Pokemon Emerald game got stolen, so the car... I'll start that again. Pascal says, we had a toy store and the box of the Pokemon Emerald game got stolen, so I got the cartridge with the Game Boy and it's still my most beloved game. Eon's Car then says Elder Scrolls Oblivion. My first love game, says Panzer, the original Killzone on PS2. I played it again last year and it was so bad at it. Yeah. I played Medal of Honor Frontline almost as much as I played Halo back in the day. And then after a few years, I went back to it and I couldn't play it because I got the remastered one on PlayStation 3 and I couldn't play it. I was like, the controls are terrible. But when I went back and played it on this modded Xbox, and it's the original version, I've got a Duke controller, but I've got a normal controller as well. It was like, actually, it's not bad. Let's have a look. Or Wizardry Proving Grounds or the Mad Overlord on Apple II Plus. ECI, wow, then you are really old. On Apple II Plus, you're as old as me. Wow. My first ever video game console in this house was a Binatone Pong machine in the mid-70s. Orange and black with the slidey switches. We didn't have a 2600. We had a Binatone Pong. It had like squash, football, badminton, those kind of games. They're all based on the same principle. Game that I wanted to play over and over, Dungeon Master on Atari ST. Oh, you were an Atari. I was an Amiga guy. I was an Amiga boy. Yeah, we had a better computer than you. Ours was better than your ST. Just joking, but it was better than your ST. First love game was Sonic the Hedgehog. I loved my Mega Drive back in the day and still do, says Raging Modeler. Ivo Lim says, first RPG game was Sherwood, kind of nostalgic. I think it's still playable on browser, but sadly it's a dead game. Fox, that is rubbish. You clearly have Canny Day inclinations. It's all in the name. Fox, Wolf, Smiley, Smiley, Smiley. Well, yeah, but yeah. I'm not furry. It's like you'd be surprised how often, because of the comic strip I drew for 5 years, because I drew Avoid Spikes and it's animal characters, and I can't. The reason I draw animal characters is I suck at drawing people, so I don't try to draw people. I accept my limitation. If I draw a person, it looks like they took thalidomide. I can't. No, so I don't bother. I draw animals instead. It's just I can do it better. Well, I can do it easier for me. So, and when I used to do the comic strip, like every almost once a week, I get an email from someone saying, "Hi, are you a furry?" And I'd be like, "Oh, no, just go away," because they're always kind of weird. The people that mail you to ask you that, they're always kind of weird. Nothing against furries. Just, I'm not. No, I don't walk around in a fursuit. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, dude, I just draw silly animals. That's it. Moving on. Candygram's in. Welcome, Candygram. William Rayborn. It was just fried eggs with cheddar cheese and toast. This is fine. This is the details. You see, fried eggs with cheddar cheese. Oh, I've only got coffee. I'll have some coffee. Oh. To a man that only has a litre of cold coffee, fried eggs with cheddar cheese and toast is the most delicious food in the world. Yesterday for dinner, I made Fox's mess, which means brown rice, potatoes, sliced up new potatoes, sliced up, cabbage, onions, and carrots, all put in the pan and boil for 25 minutes. The brown rice in the microwave for rising nicely. And what I did was being lazy. Normally I like to get some chicken, I'm on a lean meat diet, so I get some chicken or beef or whatever the meat is, and chop it up and we mix it in. Yesterday I was lazy, so I got the Fox's mess and I got myself a crappy tin of chicken in white sauce. If you're in the UK, you get these tins of chicken in white sauce and it's just garbage. It's just a block of chicken with some bland white sauce. I got a tin of chicken in white sauce and I got a tin of vegetable curry, unknown brand, generic vegetable curry, and I just put them two together, mashed it around a bit so the chicken wasn't just one enormous iceberg in the middle. And when I'd done the Fox's mess, I got my big pan and I poured that stuff in. So it was the chicken in white sauce and the vegetable curry. But then I got this enormous spoonful of honey and dumped that in. And then I added a little bit of soy sauce and some a little bit of hamburger sauce. It's like a Big Mac sauce, a little tiny touch of that, and some salt and pepper. Not many herbs, a spoonful of mustard. Put that together, and the honey, a little bit of mayonnaise. The honey, for some reason, the honey just made it. It was like, wow. Oh, look. We've got a little friend. Go on, keep going that way. Oh, hello, little friend. Let me get you a piece of paper and I'll rescue you. Hello, little dude. Hello. Come on, get on the piece of paper. Look, we've got a little friend. He's come to say hello. Hello. Ever since I got one of these in that Warhammer Conquest box. We've had these in the house. I'm going to show you a trick. Hang on. You go that way. No. This way. That way. I want to show the people something cool. No, don't go on my finger. Oh. Oh, not there, you fool. Right, just go on the piece of paper. There you go, right. No, not on... Oh! Never work with kids, children, animals and insects. Work. I want to show the people something cool, if you'll do it. Go on. On that way. Go on. Watch this. Go on. I don't know why, but they don't cross the line. I bet you never thought of that. I found this out one day. Oh, I crossed the line. You ruined it now. Right, let's put you in there. Where are you? There you are. Let's go and put you outside. Right, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to put this little fellow outside. Look at that. I don't know what they are. Ever since I got one in that box from Warhammer Conquest. Might be like carpet beetles or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'll go and throw him outside. I'll put you on hold for 1 minute, and I'll be back in a minute. Hello, random Ted. No, it won't work. Hang on. Let me. Why is Ted not working? Let's find out. There we go. That's why. Oh, you know. No, still not working. 1 second, folks. Let's slap it on. There we go. That's the one. If I do that. Slap it on. There we go. Anyway, yes, sorry about that. He's rescued. Although I have to say, I feel a little bit bad. Oh, look, my chat refreshed. I feel a little bit bad that I've rescued him by throwing him outside into the -0 temperatures, but shall be going to freeze to death. Poor little guy's going to freeze. And well, he might land in a nice warm bush and hide somewhere. He might go to sleep. But I think he's a carpet beetle, and they tend to eat your carpets, so best to not have him in the house. Where are we? George says, now that American football is over, my Sundays are free again. I should be in more often. Yay! Big hugs, big hugs, big hugs, big George hugs. Yes. Good. I've missed you. I've missed you, dude. Judge Dredd Block Gangers, belly roast chicken lunch. Oh, that's his bench, says Wayne Haywood. Philly says in, good afternoon, everyone. Medal of Honor Frontline, great atmospheric music. Pity I never found a copy of that music on DVD. I have the soundtrack because I bought the soundtrack. They released it limited edition. If you want to send me an email, modelmakingguru at fox@modelmakingguru.com, I can upload it and send you a link. If anybody wants it, I have the Medal of Honor Frontline soundtrack. It's one of the best game soundtracks you'll ever know. I'll upload it to my Google Drive. And if anybody wants it, just send me an email, fox@modelmakingguru.com. Or, hang on. Or is it fox@modelmaking.guru? fox@modelmakingguru.com. It's on my website. Go to modelmaking.guru. It's on the contact page. Send me a link. I'll send you a link to the soundtrack. It's the best soundtrack you'll ever hear. It's in my head right now. First game of goodness was Pitfall, says William. Lord High Bobbin says Final Fantasy VII. Saints Row 2, Skyrim and the Fallouts are the only ones that ever played through multiple times, says Phil East. I had a Binatone console first, then the Atari VCS, simpler times. First ever computer game was the text version of The Hobbit, then moved on to things that I can remember. Wizardry, then I remember Black and White with Wireframe Elite, as you know, Fox, I still play today. Indeed, I haven't played Elite for about 2 months now, because my HOTAS is knackered and I can't get a replacement. I can't find a replacement of the T1 HOTAS that isn't 180 quid. They cost 60 quid, but because they're hard to get, the price is doubled. It's the only one you can use on the Xbox. Panzer Koenig says, oh, I have the perfect tactic for winning against space puppies. A yellow tennis ball. Fetch, puppies. Max McGinn says, Carmageddon 1 and 2 are currently play Carmageddon Max Damage on Xbox One, such random fun. The poor little guy's going to freeze to death. I hope he doesn't. Like I say, unfortunately, we can't have him in the house. And I think he's a carpet bug, carpet beetle. He probably isn't. But it's ever since I found one in that. Here's the weird thing. There's the weird thing. Just earlier today, I had to open up one of them Warhammer Conquest boxes that came with all the maps and stuff to get some dice out, and then he suddenly appears. Maybe Hachette sent me a box full of beetles that I didn't know about. They're kind of cute. I don't mind little beetles. I like little creatures like that. But yeah, the best ones for that trick where you draw a line. You know, I don't know if you'll get this outside the UK, but you know when you go out in the summer and on a brick wall, you see like your garden wall, and you get the little tiny red spider mites, little red dots that move around. They're called spider mites. Draw a little maze on a piece of paper. They are really great for they won't go outside the line. That little one did, but they won't go out. They refuse to go across the ink line. Probably when it's still wet, they might be too sticky for them. They'll follow the maze wherever you send them. It's grateful. We used to have spider mite races in one of my jobs when we got bored. We have spider mite races and see who got to the cross line first. First game Pong, first computer game that really drew me in was the text adventure Zork. Oh, yeah, Zork on the Atari 800. We had an Atari 400. You had the better one. You could have built him a little carpet house to live in, says William Rayburn. Oh, I feel bad now. You're going to make me feel bad now, aren't you? Anyway, let's crack on. So we've got to build these little puppies here. Lenses down. Eyes down, look in. Hopefully there'll be no shenaniganery involved. Now the beauty with these is the mold lines, the seam lines, I should say, are such that you can kind of get away with just squishing the glue together. So let's do that. Let us do that now. Together first. Front and back. Boots and gloves and boots and gloves and boots and gloves. You do get a little, the only little sort of mould line, or see, I keep saying mould line, the only little gap you need to worry about is the one really where the belt is. There. That one here you can kind of get away with as armour, and it's covered up by the arm anyway. You get a little squish of glue where the belt is. And then when you sand that later, that little tiny bead of glue will sand away dead easily. You don't need to worry about the seam line there because you're going to have the head and stuff in there. They are quite easy to put together, easy to clean up, I should say. There's a little bit of a gap there. We're going to have a pauldron over the arm as well, so pauldrons always also cover up a lot of sins. Keep that in mind as well. Pauldrons are your friends. Just very gently. That. The tiniest, I don't need a big squish, just a tiny squish, tiny squish. I've got the camera in just the wrong place, haven't I, really? Can I improve that? No, I'll be fine. You're not really watching to see what I do, really. Now, while we're waiting for them to dry a little bit, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to Ragnar Blackmane. What's his name? Ragnar Blackmane? Ragnar the Red. There once was a warrior called Ragnar the Red. Now, he's a beautiful figure. I know you can't really see, but he's a lovely, lovely figure. He's got his wolf fur cloak and beautiful texture, but there's a honking great seam line there. It's the only seam line on the entire model. On this side of the cloak, it's not so bad because you don't really see it. Here, you can see this big seam line. Now, what I'm hoping, it was glued the other day. I was hoping that the squishy of the glue will be enough that I can scrape this back and fill it. So here's a handy tip for cloaks. Try this first. I put it together. I squished it so a bead of glue came out. And if we're lucky, using the scraping tool, using the relevant surface, using the scraping tool, might get rid of it because I might have squeezed enough glue out to fill that gap. Let's find out. The beauty of this is it makes a smooth surface. You're not going to end up with loads of scratches and scrapes. If I'm lucky, and it keeps it nice and uniform. If I'm lucky, I don't know if you could see that seam line originally anyway. There once was a warrior called Ragnar the Red. If we're lucky, it will fill up most of that seam line. Because what you're doing, I've shown it before, but when you get two surfaces like that, where there's a gap here, you fill it with glue, it melts the plastic, you push them together, the plastic splooges out over the top here, and what you're sanding back is the glue that's over the gap here, and the melted plastic that's in here fills that gap, and that's how you fill it with glue. A lot of tiny seams you don't even need to think about. I can't remember the last time I even used fillers and putties. I used a sprue glue every now and then occasionally, but for the most part that's too big. Need a smaller stick. For the most part, simple squishing together of the glue will be more than enough to seal most gaps, especially in cloaks. If you're doing any kind of librarians or any kind of space marines where they've got the cloak action going on, or I need a better sanding stick, hang on. One might be better. Or you've got what are they called? The Admech dudes, Skitari. They've got trench coats. Off all the Katachans and the snipers and stuff with the cloaks. They often have big seam lines. Yeah, the Skitari have a gap down the side. Now the Skitari are quite handy because with Skitari, there is a seam line going down the sort of the coat, but it's kind of naturally where a coat would have a seam line down the centre anyway, where there's a pocket. So you can get away with calling that an actual seam in the jacket. Tempestus Scions, the Tempestor, he has a big great coat, same thing. But you need to fill that one in because that looks a bit obvious, that one. But yeah, the squishy glue trick is often the easiest and simplest way to fill in a seam line. So with no filler at all, just a bit of sanding and that tool I have now got rid of, so I can see, I've now got rid of the seam line in that cloak. Once that's primed, looks a bit scratchy now, but once that's primed, you won't see that. I can't do anything on this side because of course you've got the fur texture here, so there's nothing you can do with that. But the glue squished together just fills the gap and makes it look less obvious. I've not glued his head on because I think I'm going to paint his head separately. I might regret that because I can see myself painting his head separately and then messing it up when I try and glue it on. I'm getting glue everywhere and ruining the paint job. Yeah, if that happens, he'll just get detoled and repainted. Such is the beauty of miniatures. That's that done. How easy was that for filling a gap? So it's a little bit of a hint there, but it kind of matches with these little nicks taken out of it as well, so it kind of fits in with the style. Maybe do a little bit more. It's difficult to know if that's a visible gap or just a colour difference. But just to be sure, I'll give it a little bit more. Yeah. You can see it there because you can see the powdered plastic in there, but once it actually nicely sits in a little, you've got these little nicks at the end of the cloak here. It kind of sits in one, so it looks like a little tear or rips, that's fine. You've got a little nick and tear there, so in the skin, because it's supposed to be animal skin, so that'll do nicely. Not sure what that's supposed to be though. It looks like a horn, but wolves don't have horns. It's too big to be a claw, because there's the paw. But it looks like skin on that side, but it looks like bone on that. I don't know what that's. I'll have to have a look at the artwork and see what that's exactly supposed to be. Yes, so that's Ragnar Blackmane. He's ready. If you haven't got one of these, the Citadel mould line removal tool, other options are available, other ones, but I do recommend that one because it's got this thick blade. It is a great way to get rid of mould lines and stuff, but because it's so rigid and inflexible, it will give you a nice smooth finish. There's been times when I've got rid of a mould line or sanded a glue line away and not had to sand it afterwards. I've scraped it away, sorry, not sanded it, scraped it away and not had to sand to clean up. You do it with a knife blade, you'll have a mess to clean up. Right, what's chat doing? Folks, do you have those little black mats that catch all the trimmings in your Amazon store? These, no, because it's not supposed to be used like that. First of all, it's supposed to get your thing and go like that. That's what it's for, but I love it for doing this. But also my friend Kenneth from Australia sent me this, and I don't know if it's something that's available in the US, UK or Canada where my stores are. The US, I'll have a look and see if I can add it. I don't know why I never thought of that. I will see if I can add it into the store. Oh, incidentally, when I was talking about masking tape earlier on, the big sheets of masking tape, I have added those to my Amazon stores in the airbrushing section, I think. So if you want to pick up some of that masking tape sheets, Tamiya stuff, you just need to go to, there's links in the description below the video to all my 3 Amazon stores in the US, UK and US, UK and Amazon. US, UK and Canada. That's my stores at the minute. So do go and check them out. The sheets are in there, in the airbrushing section. Right. Just learned about Orcs Law. Absolutely brilliant. Oh yeah, Orcs Law is brilliant. They're like football hooligans. There once was a man called Ragnar the Red. He went against orcs and ended up permanently dead, says Managing Modeler. Yeah. The 2 gods, the power of imagination, etc. is all just so good. Yes. They're all on AliExpress. Yes, they are, Dad, but they're also on my Amazon store. Oh, you mean these things? Yes. I'll see if I can add them on mine. You don't want to send people to AliExpress. You can't trust that. You can trust my Amazon store. Anyway, where are I? Yes. Oh, who's the? There's the. If you know your lore, you'll know about Commissar Yarrick, who the orcs actually revere and respect because he's still alive and he's kind of a survivor. Wow, that leg really doesn't have a proper way to fit very well, does it? Wow. But there are those that suspect or think that because the orcs think that Commissar Yarrick is unkillable or undefeatable, it kind of makes him unkillable. If you don't know orc fluff, the 40k lore is that orcs have this, they're all kind of, they have a certain level of psychic ability. And as a result, the reason that orc technology works is because the orcs believe it will work, and that's purely why it works. So when you get like some tech priests, or even the Tau, try to take apart orc technology to find out how it works, they can't. They can make a device that looks identical to a piece of orc technology, and it won't work. And it's the theory is that this orc circa ability just makes things work. So if an orc had a piece of wood and a stone and a dead cat, but believed it could fly, it would be a plane. It would work perfectly. So the idea is that they think, one theory is that because the orcs think that Commissar Yarrick is indestructible, he's actually indestructible. Purely because the orcs believe it. And there's also another theory that says that the reason the Emperor survives on his carrion throne, the Emperor is like basically a living corpse. That's nice and flat. The Emperor is basically a living corpse, and some people believe that the reason that the Emperor survives this long is not because they sacrifice 10,000 psychers to him every day to fuel the Golden Throne, the carrion throne. It's actually because the orcs believe that the Emperor is actually immortal and unkillable, can't die. And because the orcs believe it, again, it makes it so. Fantastic. But I think the most mind-blowing thing to know about orcs is that they're actually a fungal life form. There's no males and females. They grow from spores. And they are actually a fungus. And also, as are squigs. Squigs are also a fungal life form. They're basically a kind of fungus. There's no glue on that whatsoever. There we go. That's in properly. I was in great trouble there. My brush would not pick up any glue. Right, so I built two dudes. And it's R4. I'm taking my time. I'll glue them on in a minute. I'm taking my time with them now. I'm not rushing through and making a mishmash of these. I'm going through slowly and making them all nice and neat and mold line free and clean. Because these are my puppies, man. They get a good paint job. They're on Alex. Oh, we've done that one. Has chat died, or is it my chat that's died? Last thing I've got is Dad saying they're on AliExpress. I think the chat's died, hasn't it? Looks like YouTube chat is still being broken. Or it could be that my broadband speed is very slow and it can't load it. I think my chat might be about... Are you still getting audio and video, by the way? I know if there was something wrong, Dad would text me. I get the impression that my broadband's not going as fast as it should be. Because the first thing that happens when my broadband starts to be a bit wobbly is that my chat goes. Let's try something else. YouTube community page. Let's not try YouTube. Let's try something else completely. YouTube. Oh no, that's working. That's working. Oh, it's all good. Oh, it's back. Okay, there we go. Yeah, sometimes, basically, I'm streaming with 12 megabits up. Oh, sorry, my broadband speed is about 14 to 15 megabits up, but I put my bit rate on my streams at 12,000, which means it needs at least 12 megabits to do that, to get a decent quality. But sometimes if it drops below, it starts to panic, and the first thing it kills is the chat. So the moment chat stops updating, I kind of know that either my broadband's about to fall over or it's just struggling a bit, which is kind of annoying. Right, so let's crack on. Go. Orcs. Who said orcs? Says, sorry, I'll say again. Orcs. Who said orcs? Says Fester. Yeah. I may have convinced Colin that he needs to do an orc army. Raging Modeler says Gork and Mork, the two orc gods. Gork and Mork. One is cunning and brutal. The other one is brutal and cunning. I like it. Hang on. Let me carpet out. Yeah. All just administration today, isn't it? Yes, Ray, I love that part. Yarrick's laser eye. It's fantastic, says Phil East. But Phil East loses 10 points for putting a Z in laser. It's an acronym. There's no Z in laser. I may have to get Colin to send you the wet glove of slappage Wet mitten. Timothy Calarco says he'd been a Dark Angels fan for a long time, but for some reason he kind of really started to dig the Black Templars. I had a great... I woke up this morning. You know, like when you wake up in the morning and you have like just woken up, brilliant idea. I had a brilliant idea this morning, and I'm going to see if I can make it happen. I don't think anyone's ever done... I know they've done it before, but it's a painting job, but I don't think anyone's done it with the little idea that I've got. So, just reminded myself. In fact, I'm going to write a little note because I'll forget otherwise. You take my dad pen, scaly_models@gmail.com. Let me just make a little note secretly over here that you can't see. Reminded myself later on I've got to check into something. It'll just be a silly little thing that'll be hopefully hilarious and probably not. That's all. But the orcs were disappointed when they faced Yarick because he was small. However, credit to him for being run over by a Baneblade. Surviving. Typing, spelling there, Raging Modeler. I have the blurb about orcs in the 3rd edition codex. Shall I drop it in the boom hut, says Raging Modeler. Yeah, feel free, mate. Absolutely. Sacrifice 10,000 a day. That is one seriously population control. It's 10,000 psychers. Psychers are people with psychic abilities, and they're usually used for I'm not going to go into these various things, but they have to sacrifice 10 people because the Emperor is the most powerful psychic being in the universe, in the galaxy. He's got the most powerful psychic. It's not. I don't mean psychic like woo silly little middle class white woman who thinks she can speak. I don't mean psychic like that. It's a form of there is magic in the 40k universe technically, but it's all psychic power. It's all like channeling the channeling the warp and stuff. It's not like psychic middle class nonsense. None of this. I can speak to your relatives. That's just garbage. That's rubbish. 40k. It's not like that. It's to do with the warp, and yeah, it's kind of complicated. Anyway, Dad text. Not if he's nipped out for a wee or chasing the fish. This is true. I tried checking the AliExpress for the U-Star standing map fox. It has there. Can't find it. It's in their port. I'll see if I can find it. Woohoo, pen pidge. Yes. I'll have a look and see if I can find it on Amazon. If not, there'll be something similar. It may be maybe an Australian only. I think there's someone at the door. I'm just going to put you on hold for 1 second, guys. There might be a delivery. Hang on. I'll be back in a minute. We're back. Sorry about that. That was a million toilet rolls turning up. Right, so yes. You didn't need to know that, but there you go. Right, swig of coffee. Really must stop having things delivered on a Sunday. Where are we up to? I heard the Emperor's only alive because the orcs believe it. Exactly. Why did I eat a large fried rice and 8 dumplings for breakfast, says Timothy. Now I'm burping Chinese and too full to get anything accomplished. This is the way. Let's just leave it at that. Right, let's get these glued on. I'm out of breath now. I had to run down the stairs. Ooh. And I'm not a healthy man, so running down the stairs is not something I do naturally. Sponged on that and stick it to Cafarden. Notice I'm using the regular fat Tamiya glue. We've explained this before, but for those that haven't seen it, I use the regular fat glue because it's got some viscosity and hold things on. If I did that with extra thin, the base would just fall off straight away. It wouldn't stick on there. So I'll get the thick glue on that. It's not because it's a strong glue, it's purely because it's thick and viscous. It's purely surface tension or Van der Waals forces or whatever the thing in physics is that makes two things stick together because of a thick viscous fluid between them. The extra thin is more powerful as the glue goes. But the fat stuff just means it sticks on there for a moment. Not to hold it in place quite so much. A bit of glue there and a bit of glue there. Go on there like there, to see. Squish him on. I wiggle him around a bit just to get the glue mingled around into the texture in the base. Go. Give him a second. Let me go with the extra thin. The extra thin does the hard gluing work. I mean, it would be fine with just the regular fat glue on there. I prefer extra thin generally because it's less messy than fat glue. But a bazillion toilet rolls. Man, that's one severe case of the blahs. You glue your minis to bases before painting, says Timothy. Yes, I do if it's not got a cloak or a greatcoat. Because when it comes to painting, of course, you can stick him in one of them puppies and I can paint him like that. So I can paint him in the base. If you don't, I mean, if he's got a greatcoat or something like that, then what I would do in that case is actually drill a hole in the foot and then mount him into a champagne cork. I've got loads of little bag full of, I bought a load of little plastic lid corks. They're like corks with a plastic bit on the top. Have I got one I can show you? No. No. Okay. Well, yes, I've got loads of little corks. I thought I had something stopping the cork the other day. Oh no, when I was painting my... Never mind. Yes, so I've got a load of corks that I can mount cocktail sticks into the feet. But that's only really if I've got, say, a greatcoat to deal with. Like with Ragnar here. When it comes to painting him, of course, I can just dump his thing in there and I can paint him like this. I can get under his cloak. If that cloak was down by his feet, though, meaning that his legs were in the way and I couldn't get a brush in there, what I would then do is not have glued him to the base, but drilled a hole in his foot, put a little piece of cocktail stick in there, then attached him temporarily to a cork or something like that, like a champagne cork, wine cork or whatever, and then I can hold the cork, because it's got a plastic base, and paint underneath the cloak. So it's only if you're doing, like, say for example, Skitari, you've got to get on the inside of the greatcoat. My advice with Skitari is glue the legs and the hips to the base, but don't glue the torso, because the greatcoat is on the torso. Don't glue the torso to the hips. And instead, drill a hole in because you'll have basically the torso part. You'll have that bit with the greatcoat on it. Drill a hole into the torso. Mount a cocktail stick in there, stick that in a cork. You can hold the cork and you can paint the back of the greatcoat because you can get to it. Then when you finish painting it, you simply take the torso and glue it to the feet, which are already stuck on the base. But it's a process of looking at a character and knowing what you can glue together. If you've got if you've got, like I say, if you've got a cloak, and when I'm building this guy, I'm like, can I get to the cloak? Yes, no problem. I can get a brush in there. Get a brush in there, no problem. Can I get to these details under here? Just about. That's fine. You don't want to be gluing things on later if you can avoid it, because if I've got to glue something on later and I'm trying to get something to fit and I'm wiggling it around, you're getting glue everywhere, you're going to ruin your paint job. So that's why I've not got his head attached, because I want to paint it separately, but I'm nervous about gluing it back on at the end because I don't want to ruin the paint job. So I'm going to have to be careful. But if I wasn't able to get under that greatcoat, if I wasn't able to get under there or anything else like that, I'd be like, well, we'll have to mount him onto a cork so I can. If that base wasn't there and he was on a cork, I could get under here and paint. You learn over time. You'll learn to look at a thing you're building and assess it for how am I going to paint that? Do I need to have that separate? So sometimes I have things on sticks and sometimes I won't. Basically, things on corks. But Skitari, painting Skitari, every single one was a torso on a cocktail stick jammed into a peg, so I could get underneath and paint the inside of the greatcoat. Deathcore is different because Deathcore tend to come as a single torso and legs, so you've got no choice with those. I use the pin in a cork method, says Timothy. That's exactly what I do. I've got a drill. I've got a pin vice bit that's exactly the same size as a cocktail stick. So what I do is I drill the hole. I take my cocktail stick, I snip the end off, I get a little tiny bit of either super glue, the tiniest amount of super glue, or PVA glue if I'm not in a rush, get it in. And then when I've finished, I just take the stick out and he's glued in. You can use super glue for temporary fixing things to bases and to like mount them into corks. If you've got a figure, for example, let's say I wanted to paint this figure, but I didn't want to glue him to the base. Another thing you could do, you could get a piece of sprue or whatever you've got that you can mount him to. A tiny touch of super glue would glue him to something, but because you've only used a tiny amount, when he's finished you can snap him off. Super glue breaks if you snap it. Use a lot, you'll make a mess. If you use a tiny bit, you can snap him off. So handy tip that if you've got something small and you've got a piece of sprue, super glue it to the sprue with the tiniest touch. La 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 la. But I also talking about bases, I keep my bases simple. You might get some agrel and earth and a bit of tuft, and that's it. I don't do a lot of complex basing because I can't be bothered. So my bases are really simple. They literally are a bit of agrel and earth and some tufts, or agrel and badlands, or Martian iron crust, or whatever the texture paint is. Or they might just get some PVA glue and a bit of sand. They don't get anything complicated anyway. So not for rank and file. I mean, he comes with stuff. He comes with a little bit on there. So I don't tend to make complicated. And if it's a big thing like an Imperial Knight, I might make a little bit of a diorama. But I've got to think about how am I going to transport it in my transport case to a game. And if I'm selling it, how am I going to ship it to someone? So I can't do complex dioramas because you can't. It's a nightmare trying to ship those things. So yeah. Skitari, I glue the legs on last though. Yes. Yep, that makes sense. I paint inner cloaks before basing. Yep. It depends on each individual figure. Some you can, some you can't. You just over time you'll learn to which ones you can do. What I do need to do though is take my Uniposca pen. This is why I recommend having Uniposca pens lying around. Uniposca paint pen. That was step number. Bizarre, step number 2. So when it comes to gluing the arms on, it will say I've got the wrong page. It'll say step number 2. Then it'll say step number 3 or 7. Wait, 7? What? Oh yes. I'm confused now. Yes, so there's 2 dudes from step number 2 add these things. Add the guys from step number 5 add these things. The guys from step number 3. So what I'm going to do is I shall mark down these are the guys from cashier number 2, please. Now what I like to do when I'm finished and all painted is, because I'll paint under here, and what I'll tend to do is, because I'm rubbish, I'll have to write on the base a little hint for myself of who they are. So what I might do at the very end, and I've just thought of this now and I might do it later, is get a piece of plastic. Now I can cut circles out, piece of plastic card in there, paint it black, and then I can write in like whether he's an infiltrator or whatever, because I won't remember when it comes to playing the game and what unit's got what. Darren Edmonds says, hello everyone, welcome Darren, how are you doing my friend? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream of nonsense. Need my copy. That one's done. So now we have pieces 12, 13, 14 and 15. Seeing a trend here. 12 and 13. There's 14. 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. Lovely. Nice and simple. Simple and nice. So yeah, you do it on a case-by-case basis with each model. You look at it and think, okay, can I access all of that straight away? And you learn to judge quite quickly whether something's going to be inaccessible. So you can like say you're building a Space Marine or whatever you're building, you'll look at, say you've got a bit of kit that you need to stick onto him. Okay, I want to put that canteen needs to go on his belt. But if I put that canteen on his belt now, can I get to it to paint it? And you'll quickly be able to go yes or no. And if it's yes, you just stick it on. If it's no, you'll start thinking how you can apply it later. Because sometimes you have a difficult choice. Sometimes you've got the choice of, if I glue this thing on now, it's going to be tricky to get to paint it. But if I don't glue it on now, it is actually going to be tricky to glue on anyway. So it's the choice between having difficulty painting it because it's tricky to get to, or if it's tricky to glue on, trying to glue it on once it's painted, getting glue everywhere and messing it around and ruining your paint job and having to strip the whole thing and start again anyway. So sometimes there is a compromise between being able to paint it and being able to glue it together easily. And sometimes, oh, excuse me, sniffly nose. Sometimes you have to bite the bullet and say, well, it's going to be tricky to paint, but it's better to have a slightly shonky paint job on that particular piece than it is to spend an hour painting it and then to mess it up with a big dud of glue. It's just kind of a judgment call, really. You get there in the end. It becomes instinctive after a while. And, you've got to be honest. It's once you've built a Space Marine, you're kind of going to build the same one about 5 times anyway. Games Workshop. It gets quite tricky when you get things like dudes in vehicles. Like with some of my Orc vehicles, it's a case of, got the guy in the driver's seat. Can I get him to paint him? No. Okay, so I can't glue him in. But can I glue him in later? Maybe. But there's a roof on the vehicle, and once the roof goes on the vehicle, you can't get the driver in. Oh, okay, so I'm going to do that. And then you have to start planning the build around the paint. So, for example, on one of them, I can't remember which, it might be a case of I say to myself, well, I can't paint the guy once he's in the car, in the driver's seat. Can't get to him. Not going to happen. But if I don't glue the roof on, what I can do is I can leave the roof off, paint the interior, paint the driver, stick the driver in, and then attach the roof. Because you also learn slowly that, especially when using extra thin, there are ways you can, if you're very careful, get stuff glued together once it's painted if it's simple. Like if I've got I don't know, if I've got 2 things, and I might be like, well, that needs to go on there, like that. Well, I've got to paint them first, so I'll put them together, and smiley face, I'll put them together, and then I can run the extra thin, a couple of touches. Now, because I do most of my things are weathered, a couple of little touches of extra thin aren't going to do any harm to the paintwork, and if they do, I can touch it in with chipping or weathering or painting, whatever. But if I was, say, doing something like, well, that needs to go like that, you need to glue it like that, well, then you're having to line things up and move them around, and that will be a mess because you end up with glue everywhere. So you learn to judge what you can glue. So, for example, on this Orc vehicle, I know that I can keep the roof. I've not got it here to show you, but I think it's the it's not the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy, that it might be. Or is it the custom? It's the custom booster blaster. I can keep the roof off, paint the interior because you've got the grot in the back as well. Paint the interior. I can then paint the driver, slot him in with the roof off, put him in place. So I've got a fully painted interior, fully painted driver. The grot that's on the side, I can paint him, I can slide him in once the roof's on. And then I know that I can drop the roof on, and there'll be 2 seams down the side of the back of the vehicle, because the roof sits on there's like a back part of it, and the roof goes on the top like that. There will be a seam line there. But I know that what I can do is paint the interior and the figures inside, glue that roof on before I paint the exterior, or I've maybe primed it. And then, when I've glued it, I might do a little bit of filling or clean up on that seam, and then I can paint the exterior. Or there are ways I can get rid. So you start to really, I start to really plan the sub-assemblies, and sub-assemblies is a vital part of any build. You just start to look at things and think, okay, well, I know I need to do this first, and then this first, and then this. And you plan your build in that way. And you start to look for ways to paint things. Then it may well be, though, that, you know, on something, for example, the roof might be a simple thing of the roof goes in with 4 pegs and 4 holes. Great, put a little bit of glue on the peg, bang, done. That'd be fine. Sometimes it might be that on that kit, for example, the roof might not be able to do that, because for it to go together would be a mess that I couldn't clean up once it was painted or without paint. It gets a bit involved, but you do end up learning how to plan ahead and look at what you can paint before you glue and what you can assemble afterwards. And you get familiar with the glues that you use, and you know, you start to figure out the limits of what you can do. And sometimes there have been times when I've used other methods. When I glued all my dudes into my Land Speeder Storm, there's like 6 dudes in that thing. You kind of, the only way I could do it was to paint the guys individually outside the vehicle, but there was no way to sub-assemble it, to put them in and then put the top on, I could think of at the time. So what I had to do was build the vehicle, make sure once the vehicle's built I can get all the guys in, make sure I can slide them all in, paint all the guys, paint the vehicle, and then I slid them in, but I fixed them in place with PVA glue, because I knew that PVA glue wouldn't destroy the paint job and would dry clear and invisible anyway. That's what I did for that one. You find different ways of doing things. It's easier with figures, really, sometimes, well, a lot of times anyway, not all the time. But it can be easier with figures. Whereas before, we're going to give these a bit of a squish. I didn't clean up the belts on those guys yet, but I'm leaving them for a bit to let the glue do its squishy thing. There, I can put a little glue around his shoulder. Seal that in. There we go. That's one. The Orc vehicles, they are actually beautifully done in such a way that they are quite easy to figure out the painting order. I'm pretty confident with all those Orc vehicles I've got. I've got the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy, the Booster Blaster. I have the other one, I can't remember what it's called. I haven't got the racing car one, the Shock Jump Dragster. I haven't got that. Really interests me, that one. Squig Buggy, Custom Booster Blaster. The one that's a plane, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called now. That one, I've got that one as well. But they're all kind of beautifully engineered in such a way that you can leave parts off to get to the people inside, the figures inside, and paint them. So they're amenable to a lot. Like the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy is kind of mostly built. All the figures are on the vehicle glued in place because I can get to them all. And the ones that are in the cockpit or in the driving cab, I can leave the roof off, paint them, stick them in, and then put the roof on top. And I know from experience, I can easily glue that roof in place without getting messing up the paint job. Or in some cases, there's even situations, it might be on that one, on the Rucker Truck, I can't remember, on one of them where I know I don't even need to glue the roof on, because it will actually go together well enough just as a friction fit that I don't need to glue it, so I can paint all the bits and just put it together. That's always an option sometimes. If there's even an option for not having to use any glue, go for it. When I built my 48 scale Eagle Transporter, Space 1999 one, the engine module on the back isn't actually glued in place, because I knew to glue it on once it's painted will be a real gluey, messy glue job. But it sits in place. The bit with the nose, with the command module on the front, that's not glued on. That's literally popped into place. The actual command module outer hull is popped into place so you can get into the lighting bit. So sometimes gluing's not even necessary. And with one of those Orc vehicles, the roof actually stays in place perfectly fine, thank you very much. I've got my Chaos Rhino that I've not glued the top on for two reasons. One, I want to get inside and paint the interior, and I want to be able to show it off. But also, I can pop the top off and put things in it and pop the top back on, and it goes into my transport case. You know, any bits that are like magnetized and not glued down, which I've never thought of at the time, they can go inside. Taurox Prime is great. You don't need to glue that lid, the roof on at all. You can leave it off and put things inside it. So there's always ways around these things. Best just to play and have fun. Hello everyone, says Darren. Has chat fallen over again, or have people just stopped chatting? I never know, actually. Oh no, there we go. That's a great idea, Fox, says Phil. I'm full of great ideas. One day I'll find where they are. Right, see if we can get 2 more dudes done before home time. I've not done a lot today, but hey, not exactly a great surprise, that is it. But with Skitari, I do find it easier to glue the legs to the base. And then just glue the torso to the legs later, so you can get inside that coat. It's like, one of my big frustrations, I absolutely adore the way that Tempestus Scions look. If I could have an Imperial Guard army that was just all Tempestus Scions, I'd go for that. Because they look great, they're fun to paint, I enjoy painting them. And they're fantastic, they look fantastic. But they have that 2-part arm, where you've got the upper arm and the lower arm. Instead of just being an arm, it's upper arm and lower arm. For no reason I can discern, they've done that way, which doesn't sound so bad. But you've got to build both arms and then have them holding a weapon. So you can't glue on an arm into place and then leave it and then come back later and glue on the other arm that's holding, because one arm's got the weapon molded onto the hand, or the weapon has the hands molded onto it. You can't glue the arms on first and come back and do the rest later, because if you glue the arms on but they're not quite in the right position, because it's not 100% lock in place, you've suddenly got a weapon that doesn't fit with the arms. You've got to glue on both arms and wiggle them round and get them lined up with the weapon. And at the same time, the hose that goes from the weapon, the pipe, the tubing, has to match up with the backpack. Now, it's not impossible. It's not that hard, but it's a very fiddly and very messy process. If you're using, like, Tamiya thick cement, you've got quite a long working time, so you can move things around. But you're making a right mess when you're doing it, and it can be quite frustrating. And there's no way you could not glue those arms on. But some of them have got the weapons right across the chest, and the chest's got some very fine detail on it. There's no way you could glue those arms on afterwards, because if you did, you'd be stripping the paint off and starting again, because you'd make a right god almighty mess of it. So you have to paint them once the arms are on, and you just have to do your best to get to all the detail. And I would love an army of just Tempestus Scions, except for I find it a real chore building them. Also, adding to the fact they've got these like little screens on their gloves. They've got like a little sort of computer screen here. It looks quite cool, but the nub to connect it to the sprue is right in the middle. And it's very easy to get rid of the nub and then remove the little, because there's a defined edge to the screen. It's very easy to get rid of the nub and sand away that little defined edge. So it's quite frustrating. So they are quite frustrating to build. They look fantastic. And if I wasn't able to build Deathcore, I'd go for Scions. But yeah. Having said that, I've got like 40 of them, I think, or more. I've got quite a lot of Scions. Got to paint them yet. I probably will do more. It's just kind of frustrating. It's a frustrating, unnecessary, complex part of the build that need to be there, basically. They don't need those 2-part arms. You could have this, it could be exactly the same as a guardsman. Have 2 arms, one of which has a weapon moulded to it, or 2 arms and a weapon with hands moulded on it, or just 2 arms and a weapon you add separately. It doesn't need to be that unnecessarily complex, but it is. It's kind of frustrating. Put that there. I must paint those Scions. I've actually painted them twice. Well, I've started painting them twice. When I was doing the Principality of Xeon colour scheme, I was going to paint them in the style of like char, so they have like red uniforms and silver trim on the armor and stuff. But since I've gone off the whole idea of doing the Xeon thing, because it's just kind of gone off the idea, I might not paint them like that. I don't know yet. I don't know. I do know that because I'm going to, in my own personal army that I'm having for myself, is going to be Deathcore. I'll have Deathcore in it. My Deathcore are going to have the traditional dark grey, bluey grey greatcoats and light brown leather gear and that kind of stuff. They'll be fairly traditional. I'll have a look at the reference for Deathcore and see the different colour greatcoats and things. I think, though, what I'm going to do, my Imperial Guard rank and file troops, my guardsmen, I think I'm going to give them a complementary colour scheme, as if that, you know, my particular division of Imperial Guard is one that fights or tends to fight alongside the Death Corps for whatever reason, in my head canon, in my fluff, my brain fluff. So I'm going to give my Imperial Guard are going to have a, instead of being khaki or a tan coloured outfit with the green armour, I'm going to give them a possibly tan coloured outfit, but I'm not sure. But they're going to have the similar colour to the Death Corps coats, so like a bluey dark grey armour. And the vehicles, I think, the Death Corps for sure, the vehicles will be in that kind of German grey colour, because that's the kind of colour scheme for Death Corps anyway. And for the Guard, it might be similar, but I'm also going to mix in some Matilda style colour schemes, like the Matilda tank colour schemes, because I do like that. I think Death Corps will either be, well, Death Corps will be a mixture of, I don't know, let's just say it now. My Imperial Guard and Death Corps will be a mixture of World War I green colours, so faded green colours, World War II Matilda tank colours, that kind of green, tan and blue with rusty bits, and then German grey style for some of the vehicles. I really can't wait to paint those Death Corps. I'm really looking forward to building my my Forge World tanks as well, but I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I know I'll probably hate it because it's resin. I'll either hate it or love it, or both. In my mind, it's going to be the best thing ever, but in reality, I'll probably hate every minute of it because it's resin. But we'll see. Really can't wait to build that Vanquisher and that Infernus. Yeah. I think the Vanquisher will have the sort of World War II German grey colours. Kind of greys, bluey greys with the weathering. And I think the Malcador Infernus will have the World War I green colour scheme. Not a bright green, a bit like when I did that Challenger tank, the Churchill tank free models, that kind of faded green look. Because that's quite good. Just simple colour schemes that aren't going to take me a long time to paint, but that I can weather up quite nicely. Fox, try looking behind the sofa cushions. Yeah. Yes, your Eagle Transporter Build series, that's what got me back into modelling. Thanks, Fox, says Darren. You're welcome. Glad it did. Transporter streams what got me into watching his streams. It cropped up while I was googling Jerry Anderson. Frankie goes onward, says bye bye guys, see you soon. Take care, Frankie. Thank you for coming in. Enjoy your dinner. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. It always is. But take care. See you soon. If you wanted them to move 3 times faster, you're more... Oh, I'll start again. So you wanted them to move 3 times faster, you're more orky than you let on, says Aaron. He's referring to Char's Zaku being red. Because in Mobile Suit Gundam, Char has a red Zaku, not a green Zaku, and it's supposed to be 30% more powerful, 30% more faster, so it's 3 times as fast, because he's a red comet. And it is rumoured that the whole thing about orcs painting things, or the evil sons, believe that when you paint something red, it goes faster. And there is a rumour that that whole bit of story fluff is inspired by, bizarrely, given my modelling tastes, bizarrely inspired by Char's red Zaku in Mobile Suit Gundam, which is red and 30% faster, 33% faster and more powerful. Nobody's ever confirmed it. Nobody knows. It's just somebody said. Some people believe that's the case. That's why the whole thing is paint it red to make it go faster. Is influenced by that. So I was going to paint my Tempesta Scions. I think the idea was when I was going with the Zaku, the Xeon theme, was to go for red armor. I mean, no, so red outfit, so different colors of red, but then the armor would have silver trim, with white gloves and white boots. I did paint one up like that, but it kind of looked a bit wrong. But I didn't do it right. I painted it wrong. Some of the wrong colors. I painted the whites wrong, but it didn't gel for me in my mind. I'm like, it sounded great in my head, but actually looking at it, I was like, I don't know. And then I kind of got bored of the whole Xeon idea anyway, so we shall see. That was before I started thinking about, having thoughts about deathcore. I won't have a big deathcore. I mean, don't forget, I think I've only got about 40 deathcore groups anyway. And as much as I can avoid buying anymore, I don't want to build anymore. I mean, if I see pre-built ones on eBay every now and then, I might snag some. The ones I bought recently on eBay, it was 10 Deathcore Krieg for £45. I thought, well, it's the same cost as buying them off Forge World, but they've already been built and primed. I'll do that. Saves me the hassle. I hate building them. When I got them, it turned out they weren't actually official Forge World. They were rip-offs. They were knockoffs. They were very good, but they weren't even recasts. They didn't have the Aquila on the helmet, so I assume they're just knockoffs. And they had different bases. That could be anything. But they weren't official Forge Worldage. But it cost me the same as buying actual, a squad of 10 days. And the squad itself was supposed to be, I can't remember the squad, but it should be like, there should have been at least one of the guys with a heavy flamer, I think, or two of them, but they all just had las rifles. So what I'm going to need to do is, my plan, because the problem I have is I hate building them because I get the Forge World guys, I get the torsos and all the arms. I don't know which arms go with which torso, and there's no way to know, and no guide. And if you glue them on with super glue, you can't move them around. So it's even worse than Tempesta Science. If I can avoid that, I will. But what I might do is, because I've got, I think, a couple of guys that are carrying a las rifle when they should be carrying a heavy flamer. So what I might do, if I get the nerve to do it, is cut the arms off two of the guys with rifles, because I was also sent a load of deathcore and some of them had broken rifles. What I might do is get the guys with broken las guns, pick up the nerve to snip the arms off and trim them away, and replace them with standard Imperial Guard. You get a set of arms with a heavy flamer. For your Imperial Guard, you get two arms, one with a heavy flamer. I might cobble together a couple of deathcore guys that have those arms. So that way I can have my squad with the flamers. They're not going to be accurate, not the right models, because it's not the right kind of flamer and it's not the right sleeves on the arm. Doesn't matter. Otherwise, I'll just have a squad of 10 dudes with las rifles and forget that two of them are supposed to be carrying heavy flamers, or melters or whatever. I might do that. It takes a bit of nerve though. I mean, cutting the arms off will be easy because I'll just snip them and then trim them away. Did something just happen then? Nope. Okay. You just snip them off and trim them away. It's resin. It's quite easy to do. And then see if I can somehow get the plastic arms to fit on. Somehow. I don't. Yes, I've vowed never to try and build deathcore squads again. I'll definitely get things like the 1 or 2 man heavy thud guns and things like that, because that's 2 dudes and 4 arms. I can't really go wrong. But the difficulty is you get 10 guys and the instructions show you 5 dudes, but there's 10 different sets of arms, and the 5 dudes you get from one angle, you can't, the pieces aren't numbered. So in future it'll be a case of I'll see someone selling a pre-built squad on the eBays and buy them, as long as it's not too expensive. Ideally primed, or ideally not primed, just built, and then, because sometimes people build these things and just sell them, so that I can live with. Black Rifle's in. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, Lee. He says, afternoon, folks. Red does go faster, translates to quicker Dakka. You know what confuses me, though, is we all spell Dakka D-A-K-K-A, and that's how Games Workshop spells it. But if you look at the lexicon for the Orca glyphs, Dakka is D-A-K-A. It's only got 1 K. I don't quite get that. Matilda Tank Colours is known as the Contour camouflage, says Panzer. Awesome. I didn't know that. I do like it though. It just looks great because it really works with the rusty exhaust. I love putting rusty exhausts on things because, you know, exhausts are thin metal. They tend to rust faster. Must rust faster. Right, so I'll remember that for about 5 minutes. Then I'll forget it's called the Contour camouflage pattern. Make sure these are the right bases. Yes. There we go. So, yeah, I think my death core will be a mixture of World War One of light green, World War Two German grey, sort of German armoured division kind of colours, that kind of German grey, which will match with the greatcoats anyway, and that Contour, a very strange leg. How is that? Oh, I see. I don't quite understand this one. It goes like that. There you go. Oh, I see now. I've got it now. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Almost like he's sitting down a little bit. How is this guy? Oh, I see. He's got a leg behind him. There we go. Bring on the fat glue. Fat glue times. So, making sure the glue is nowhere near the actual other bits on the table, so I don't end up with sadness. That stream that Ted did once where he had his pot of Tamiya extra thin and he was moving the brush over his model every time he was getting the glue. I'm like, oh, move your model of glue. Move it. It was triggering every bit of me. I was going, oh, no. Am I not on camera? I'm on camera, yes. Done that. Everybody in chat was like, Ted, move your glue. Ted, move your glue. Move it. I think he was building his Bren carrier. He was doing the Baneblade or something. And he had the model here, the pot of glue there, and he's like this, and it's like, oh, everybody in chat was completely triggered. It was funny. So funny. It was like, Ted, move your glue. In the end, he's like, I better move my glue, hasn't I? Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to doing those Forge World tanks. In my mind, there's two ways of thinking. One is they've only got a few pieces and they'll go together beautifully and I'll actually enjoy it. Because the weird thing with resin is I actually quite like resin in a lot of ways. In certain ways. It's nice to work with and easy to sort of clean up. And I enjoy cleaning nubs and things off because it always seems to clean up really nicely. But at the same time, it's also resin and you have to fill in little holes and all that kind of nonsense, which is a pain in the bum. But my big concern is that nothing will fit together because it's Forge World. Yeah, that's... So, and one half of my brain's going, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to look great because the tank looks fantastic. And the other part of my brain's going, it's going to be a nightmare because nothing's going to fit. And you'll have, you know, mold slippage on half of it and you'll have to do loads of green stuff. And I don't want to think about that. That's not going to happen. To quote Master Chief, that's not going to happen. I don't know. I'm still torn as to, once I finish the Orc Flyer, the Wasbomb Dakajet, I've got to finish the Lehman Russ for Tabletop Trauma Centre. Move that over there. And once the Lehman Russ is done, I'm free then to build whatever I fancy. Not like I can sell anything right now, so I'm not in a massive urgency to build something that's sellable. So a few things I'm thinking of. I'm keen to start the Kashatra at some point, but I'm going to wait till Colin's done his. Vester's done his. I could start the Valkyrie, but I know Colin's got one of them as well now. So what I'll probably do is I'm tempted, very tempted, to actually start one of my Forge World tanks. But that'll be a proper film series, so. Or start painting up my Death Core. But then I might build the tanks first and then paint the Death Core. I don't know yet. Could be worse. It could be fine cast, says Raging Modeler. Oh, my Slime Arbo's fine cast. Yeah. This is what I don't get. You've got Games Workshop who do plastic and you've got Forge World that do resin. Occasionally, every now and then, you get a few kits from Games Workshop that are resin. And I think it's because they were done before Forge World existed, before they branched off into Forge World. And what I don't understand is, I know it's like a sister company and therefore they're not like, joined at the hip. But come on, you've got Forge World who make, despite the issues you have with Forge World kits, at the end of the day, resin kits are very hard to manufacture and prone to issues. So you've got Forge World who are professionals at making resin kits. They do a lot of good quality stuff. And then you've got the Finecast stuff, which is the Games Workshop resin, which is generally garbage. And it's like, could you not just either use the same hardware? Can you just use the Forge World kit and equipment? Or could you not just actually train someone, get someone from Forge World to come across and show you how to do it? Because how can you have two companies under the same umbrella doing the same thing horribly differently? It's weird. It's really weird. It's like, take a car, take a Volkswagen and a Golf and a Skoda, whatever, that share the same chassis. So they've got the same chassis. They both got the Volkswagen chassis, and it's the same group of companies as well. So imagine that. But imagine if, like, your Volkswagen was a beautifully made car and great, and your Skoda was just like they were in the 1980s. Absolute nonsense, absolute garbage. Because Skodas nowadays are pretty good cars, but because they're Volkswagens. But imagine if somehow Skoda came along and used the same chassis as the Golf or Polo, but somehow managed to completely screw it up and make a terrible, terrible car. It'd be like that. It's like, come on, you've got guys next door that know how to make resin. Why don't you just pick their brains and make resin using their technology? I don't know. Very weird. Right, so that is group number 2. Cashier number 2, please. Wait, that was question number 3. Step off. We've done the first step. That's step number 3. I might start doing that, they're making little plastic circles and sticking them underneath so I can write down what they are. Because I won't remember which is an Inceptor and which is an I've got my Space Marine antimacassars, and I don't know which ones are which. And I've actually got in some of my little figures in my storage case where I've not painted them yet. I've actually got things with like my scions. I've got written on the base like HLS for hot shot laser, or just LR for laser rifle or lasgun. So I've had to write down on the base which weapon is which, because I don't know, a flamer from a melter. I don't know which is which. Yeah, I kind of have to be that stupid. Hot shot lasguns. That's them done. Not built a lot, have I? Have a quick look at chat. I called Luke Lee. I do apologise. I don't know why I called Luke Lee. sorry, Lee. Hello, Luke. Google translators. Any orc knows there's 2. K Stew. Stupid humies think there's 1. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Oh, hello. Burpage. It is Panzer. I built one in that scheme. Nightmare to mask and paint, but the end result was worth it. Oh, right, you mean the Contra colour scheme? I would actually brush paint it. When I do if I do a tank in Contra scheme, I think I'll brush paint it. Because I brush painted that little chibi tank for the E-model show last year. That was done as a Matilda, because it was a Matilda. And it was great. And it looked great when I finished it. I could just brush it. Stewpot, I sent you an email, mate. Okay. Don't forget, folks, like I said earlier on the show, if you've forgotten already, I do have the Medal of Honor Frontline soundtrack. If anybody's interested and wants it, just drop me an email. I'll just double check mine. Do it to modelmakingguru@gmail.com. That's the safe bet. I think it's fox@modelmakingguru.com. But if you're not sure, just do it to modelmakingguru@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll send you a link. I'll upload it and send you a link to the soundtrack. You can download it. Because they did release it on CD, but only a limited run. It was a limited edition print. I don't know how many they sold. I managed to snag one off eBay. And it is a fine soundtrack. So if you want a copy, just drop me an email and I'll send you a link. Upload it to my Google Drive. Black Rifle is currently working on a Finecast Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf. It's an interesting process. Where are we? I just need to What we're working on today, Luke, you see, what we're working on today is, funnily enough, yeah, I've got all the Space Marine part for the Prophecy of the Wolf. I'm going to build a Space Wolves army. I've got this. I've got the Space Wolves Combat Patrol coming in the next few days. I was saying at the start, you weren't here. I'm going to have some sort of Space Marine force anyway. I'm going to make them Space Wolves. The problem is, of course, like I was saying, they're going to be Primaris. So I can't use rhinos or any rhino-based tank or any old-style vehicles. I can't use them at all. So my only vehicles are going to be the new motorbikes, the ATV, or the repulsor-based, free repulsor-based floaty tanks. That's it. Okay, really. I hope we do start getting some Primaris-compatible flyers and things like that. Either what they need to do is make up some fluff reason why Primaris can go into existing transport options like your rhinos and your things like your predators and things like that, or release more vehicles for Primaris, because we've got the 3 repulsors and that's it. There's like 40 or 50 different vehicles for standard Marines. Come on now, come on GW, you'll make some more money. But before you do that, make plastic deathcore, you bar stewards. God, I'd sell all your spleens for plastic deathcore, all of them. There is a rumour doing the rounds at the minute that there may possibly be, or there's a rumour, Max says, yeah, the repulsor / impulsor / there's only 3 of them. They're all based on the same thing. And I don't like that. I don't like that kit. I've built one and it's horrible. It didn't go together very well. There is a rumour doing the rounds right now, and it's probably complete nonsense. There is a rumour that scheduled for release this year is a Kill Team set of Deathcore Krieg in plastic. Now, it's probably wrong. I did read one thing that said that was the rumour, and then another thing said, are you sure if it's even remotely true, it's more likely to be like Steel Legion, not Deathcore? They look very similar. Because Steel Legion exist in the Games Workshop side of 40k. So, and I was like, oh, even if it, and I thought to myself, even if they just released 10 plastic Deathcore for Kill Team, I'd buy them, and you could use them in 40k regular. I'd buy like 100 of them, and that'd be me Deathcore sorted out. Because people say, why would they release Deathcore? Because Deathcore is Forge World's biggest seller. And it's like, that's fine, but think about it. You can get Orcs from Games Workshop, you can get Orcs from Forge World, you can get Chaos from Games Workshop, you can get Chaos from Forge World, you can get Imperial Guard from Games Workshop, you can get Imperial Guard. Everything that Forge World does, apart from the Horus Heresy stuff, there's stuff on both, because it's added towards. You've got, Imperial Guard vehicles, you've got Orc stuff, you've got Eldar stuff. There's no reason why they couldn't have plastic Deathcore and Forge World Deathcore. You have a range of vehicles. You've got Baneblades on Games Workshop and plastic, or you've got the resin Forge World kits that include the plastic parts in them. You've got loads of Rhinos and Lehman Russ variants on Forge World. They could do it, and it would sell like hotcakes, and they should have Forge World on Games Workshop and on Deathcore on Forge World and Games Workshop. That would be maximum trouser 10. Even if they only released a 10-man squad and that was it in plastic, that's fine. I can have 100 dudes that all look the same. We've only got 5 different Imperial Guard guys. There's only like 5 or 6 different Imperial Guard troops that you can make hundreds out of. So I would be more than happy with 10 minis for Deathcore. God, I'd be moist beyond description. 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. 22, 23. Find these. Not on that one. The other one, isn't it? I bet. Oops. So that is the rumour that they might release like a little squad of 10 for Kill Team. I don't think it's true. I think it's probably just made up nonsense. And if it isn't, it's probably just misunderstood, and it's more likely they're going to do 10 Steel Legion. Because Steel Legion, you can buy Steel Legion in metal. And they look a bit rubbish because they're really old. But they're very similar. They've got sort of great coats, they've got gas masks, but they look a bit rubbish. Plastic Deathcore. Oh, I would sell all my other minis and just build hundreds and hundreds of Deathcore. Leave it at that. 22, 23, 24, 25. 24, 25, 25 is there, 24 is here. Yes, that's. Ooh, this guy gets a bit of scenery on his foot. Yeah, even if they only ever released a 10-man squad. That's it. I mean, look at Tempestus Scions. There's 5-man squad, a command squad, which is the same as the 5-man squad pretty much, and 1 vehicle, and that's it. So why not just release 10 dudes for kill team, but make them playable in regular 40k and compatible with the Forge World armor of the Imperium thing. Brilliant. And then I can buy lots and lots of plastic deathcore and enjoy building them. Enjoy building them forever. Because at the minute, right now, my options are basically buy things off eBay that could be ropey rip-offs, ropey knockoffs like the ones I've got and built badly. I don't really know. Or pay someone to make them for me, which is not an option really. I mean, I would literally pay someone. I would literally say, right, I will order a whole load of deathcore. I will pay you to build them and then send them to me, and I'll prime them and paint them. I would do that because I hate building them so much. At least the squads. I'd probably build the horsey horses, and I'd build the 1 or 2 man. Oh, legs away. And where did that go? Let's have a look and see. First, trousers. Is it in the turnips on my pyjama pants? Could be. Okay, has the grey piece of plastic gone into my grey rug? No. Oh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. I heard something. Hang on. Arse magnets. Still here. I'll keep talking so you know I'm alive. No idea where that went. Oh, this could end well. Oh. This is the worst. That literally could be anywhere. It could be in a bag. It could be in a box. Hang on. Get my phone, so I've got my torch going on. Hang on a minute, folks. This usually happens at least once during any kind of build. Right. See what we can see. What's that? That's dust. Dust. Anybody? No. Dust. It kind of went this way a bit, so. Where in the name of Satan's arse did it go? That's very annoying. If it turns out to be in my trouser turn-ups, I'll try. Oh, spam. It could be anywhere. Ah, there we go. Ha, 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 got you. Ha, ha, ha. I moved a thing and there it was. Impetron. Yes. Yes. Oh, I forgot one other thing. I bought some things this week. I bought an iPhone SE. Not as a phone. It's an iPhone SE 2020 SE. Not as a phone. It is purely as a camera. It's an expensive camera, but my current filming options. My old iPhone 6. It's beyond redemption. It's so old. The battery's so drained it can't work anymore. I thought, well, I need to get something quickly. I need to get something fast. I need to get something that I know how to use. I could get a proper camera, but I haven't got a clue how to work a proper camera. I'll just get an iPhone SE. Got myself that. Purely as a cheapest option because, I could have got a better iPhone, but I haven't got that much money. So yeah, because I was kind of panicking a bit because it's like, well, my phone, I can't film on my phone. I don't want to use my own proper real life phone because the camera's not as good, and because using a phone to film on does really kill the battery over time, and I need my phone to actually work as a phone. So yes, so yeah, so a new camera, effectively, that's all it's for, and it will also work as a backup phone in case it's like a spare phone, effectively. If mine or Mama Fox's phone dies or anything like that. Yeah, so I gave it a test run on the latest episode of the Dakar Jet build. and it gives me a nice spank. It's a better picture than I was getting on the iPhone 6. Requires a bit more fussing afterwards in post-production for things like saturation and gamma and things like that, because when you watch one of my videos, I'm always fussing with things like the saturation of the final video and the hue and the colour and stuff, because smartphone cameras aren't proper professional cameras. They're not going to give you, that true professional look, but they're more accessible and easier for me to use, and you can tweak them in post-production anyway. So yeah, quite pleased with it so far. It gives me a good looking picture, which is fine for what I'm doing, which is 1080p video content. And I don't need to spend £1,000 on a camera just for that. Not when I've only got 25,000 subscribers. Give me 1 million subscribers, then I'll quite happily buy a £1,000 camera. Yeah, but that would mean also having to learn how to use the camera. The advantage with the iPhone is that I literally turn it on, I copy all the stuff across from the other iPhone, which includes the Filmic camera app, and within 5 minutes I'm up and running and filming, because I'm used to the Filmic app. I know all the settings that I need to film for this bench with these lights, so I can literally turn the phone on, set the settings, and be filming within like 2 minutes. But for the sake of speed, I'll go with what I know. Not cheap, but it's a better option than in the past what I've had to do when my other iPhone. I filmed on an iPhone 5S for a while, and then that died. And then what I did was I went through a couple of ones that I bought online, like refurbished ones for like 70 quid, but they were garbage. Like, you get it and the camera doesn't work, or the screen's knackered, or it works for a day, and then they were bought through Amazon, so I got the money back, got a refund, returned them. But refurbished iPhone 5, iPhone 6, there you go, 50 quid, done. The screen would flicker every 5 minutes, or the camera would crash, or the battery wouldn't last 5 minutes. So when this one went, I thought, you know what, I just need to get a new one. I didn't really want to sit there I'm not a camera guy, so I didn't want to spend ages going through actual cameras, and so all I need it for is to film video for YouTube. Smartphone camera is more than fine. I'm familiar with iPhone cameras, so I'll just get another iPhone. There are probably better options out there for better cameras, but iPhone SE is not the most expensive smartphone camera you can get. Plus, I can get it through Argos, which is even handier. So there you go. Yes. do. Besides, I thought to myself, well, I haven't yet bought an Xbox Series X, and that's not going to happen for another 9 months. So I had planned on getting one. So why not I just get this phone? And there you go. It costs less. And I've paid it off in a couple of months, so it keeps me filming. Yeah, quite pleased with it. It's quite a good camera on it, actually, to be honest. For a budget smartphone, it's actually pretty good. I mean, it's light years ahead of my iPhone 6S. It's 4 years ahead of that or something. So that's that one. Very nice. The repulsor is a fantastic build and they're very powerful in the game, says Black Rifle. I didn't enjoy it at all. I don't know if you saw when I made it, I had to put loads of plastic card stuff on it and give it battle damage because the side walls just did not fit. There were massive gaps. Now I know later on, I found out later, if I hadn't put those little repulsor parts on, the bits that are built into the hull, I could have probably avoided that, but they don't tell you that if you follow the build order. I just didn't enjoy building it after that. You had gaps, like about 2mm gaps coming at the end of the panels at the front, and I had to build plastic card panels to go over them. It's horrible. Maybe it was just that first one, and if I build another one, I'll do it better. I don't know. Put a couple of whirlwinds in your army, as they are pretty powerful in 9th edition. What's a whirlwind? What a whirlwind is. But don't forget, I'm Primaris, so I can't use anything that's not. Basically, it's a repulsor, an ATV, or the new motorbikes, and that's it so far for vehicles for Primaris. And you need Bjorn and Murderfang for a Space Wolves army for sure. Yeah. Primaris needs drop pods to make Angels of Death more canon. This is the thing. I wish they'd just come. Well, they're not going to do it because at the end of the day, they're going to sell it. Nobody knows if their intention is to have Primaris alongside Old Marines forever, or to eventually fade out Old Marines, phase them out, and move solely to Primaris. But they really need to sort their crap out with vehicles because Primaris really have no options. There's no flyers. The only flyer there is in fiction and not in reality, and it's the something or other, whatever it's called, that's bigger than a Thunderhawk and doesn't actually exist as a kit. So there's no actual canon kit. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's just more stuff they could sell. Because there'll always be people with the old Marines and they'll need the old vehicles. That's fine, but you've got the people. I've said this before on streams. I feel sorry for anyone that goes into a store, and I would hope that most store managers would tell them. But anyone that goes into a store and spends 85 quid on the, Space Wolves Combat Patrol, and then buys 4 rhinos, and it's like, oh look, you can't use the rhino with the Space Wolves. I mean, I assume you can field a rhino and Primaris Marines. I mean, probably not Space Wolves, but Primaris. I assume you can field a rhino and Primaris at the same time. But it's just you can't have that rhino use any kind of troop carrying. If your vehicle is just purely a troop carrier, it won't. You can't do anything with it. I assume anyway. I assume there's nothing stopping me having 100 Primaris and 10 rhinos. It's just I can't use any kind of troop carrying capability of the rhinos. They can be combat only. I assume that. I don't know. I mean, that's not so bad. But if you've got a vehicle that's just dedicated as a troop transport, like the Chimera, point, although that's not really Space Marines anyway, but that kind of takes the edge off. Where are we? The Whirlwind, I mean. Have a look at my 40k folder on Festive Season Workshop group, and there's a Space Wolves workshop in there. I shall have a look. Rhino chassis, but artillery piece. Cool. I assume that then, can you, I could be wrong here, I assume you can field Primaris and non-Primaris vehicles as long as you don't intend to use, I assume it's just the troop carrying capacity. So if you've got like the Hydra, that's not the thing. You've got like the Whirlwind, I assume, because it's not a troop carrier, you can use it with Primaris. But then, is there a thing about the Primaris guy can't fit in it to drive? I don't understand it, you see, if you've got purely Primaris. I don't know how it works. Welcome, Eon's Car. Welcome. I mean, sorry. Scale Model Muse. Welcome, Muse. How are you doing? You're a bit late there. Bit late, Muse, but we'll let you off. We love you anyway. Better late than never. You can mix Firstborn and Primaris in the same army. Space Wolves benefit from some unique Firstborn units. Yeah, I don't know. At the moment, I've only got Primaris, so I suppose I could get some Firstborn dudes. We shall see. We shall see. Or I could just, get my Space Wolves and then put a load of Astra Militarum in there with them. And have my Space Wolves always fighting alongside the Imperial Guard in some way or form. Space Wolves and Death Corps. Space Wolves and Tempestus Scions. I don't know. I'll probably have the most disorganised army you can imagine going. Because ultimately what I do is I look at things that are cool and build them and then think, right, how can I make that into an army? It might be that my Space Wolves just end up just being played for small skirmish games. I might not get that many of them. So it's literally going to be these guys and the Combat Patrol kit. I'll probably buy more over time, but the fact I'm probably not even going to be able to play a game for another year at least. Oh, burpularity. Look at the burpularity. Excuse me, I'm getting Spider Pig now. I just like the look of the Space Wolves. I like the colour scheme. I like the design. Also, having a massive sheet of Space Wolves decals kind of helps as well. Space Wolf and Death Corps would be very cool, says Lee. Yeah, Lee, said Luke. Yes. Why do I keep calling you Lee? I don't know. You just can't use Firstborn transport for carrying Primaris. Oh, okay. But as long as you've got, yeah, I suppose, yeah, that would work then. Maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. I feel sorry for anybody that goes into a store and doesn't know and buys a combat patrol, couple of combat patrols, and 3 transports, and suddenly realizes you can't use the transport. Oh, arse. Yeah, that'd be a good day, wouldn't it? You don't want to buy that. I've done that. I've not cleaned that up properly yet. Get all the nubs off first, Fox, and then we'll do all the little bits. Well, 22 almost. I won't get this one. I won't get these finished, I suspect, but might get one more done, maybe. Maybe one more. Oh, I don't know. The cleanup takes a while. I'm taking my time with these guys. I'm not rushing through these guys at all. I was about to say they were a gift, but they weren't. I paid Simon for these. They were no gift whatsoever. But they have been touched by the hand of a golden demon winner. Therefore, they must be treated with reverence and respect. He has touched these with his fair hands. He breathed upon them. He may have even least a body fluid of a drool or a breath of spittle or something maybe upon this plastic, for all I know. He gave me a little plastic, a couple of index cards with the decals in. There may be an eyelash and some DNA on that tape, on that card, and therefore they must be treated with the reverence they deserve. I must build them carefully and thoughtfully, and with all due attention for cleanup. Knowing how Simon is for despising mould lines and nubs, and knowing how Simon can spend a whole day just cleaning one single goddamn backpack, as he would call it, I must therefore reference his tenacity and quality of workmanship. And then I'll paint them like I paint them and they'll look like garbage, but that's not the point. I may not be able to paint like Si, but I can at least clean stuff up like Si. If it means I build 4-part Space Marines in 3 hours, then so be it. This is the order of things. It is the order of things. That is the way it is. Touched by the hand of a golden demon winner. And then I got them. These are not to be built lightly or quickly. The ones I've just bought, I'll just build them. I don't care about them. But these are special times. These are specials, these. What I must do at some point, though, just for fun, I must actually do some artwork and send it off to the guys at Fallout Hobbies. I must get some water slide, a sheet of various size water slides of my Model Making Guru logo, because it would be cool at some point to like have an army of dudes like my Imperial Guard stuff, my Death Corps stuff. I want to give them the Model Making Guru logo on their vehicles. That would be awesome. We'll have it on the pauldrons or something, on the shoulder pauldrons. I need to cobble that together and send it off to the guys at Fallout Hobbies and get a water slide sheet done. Let me clear my throat. One sec. I'll get a sheet of like hundreds and hundreds of them in different sizes, from tiny to big. Then I can have my Model Making Guru logo on vehicles and that. That'd be fun. Gotta have fun with this stuff. I could have these pieces analysed and make them into, get a clone, make a clone of Simon. And then I could have it live in the loft and eat nothing but fish heads, but force it to paint things at Golden Demon level. Make a fortune. Oh, I'd be buying a yacht within years. Award-winning, painted by an award-winning painter. This Space Marine, £5,000. Done. Sold. Yacht. Hello. I don't know where I'm going with that train of thought. It's just weird. You have to expect my weirdness. I know I'm not done. Get that back. Well, I've got to talk about something while I'm doing this. So. Now, don't forget, of course, it's not over till the fat lady sings. But I dumped her years ago, so I don't know if she's singing or not. So, don't forget, once I've finished here, shortly, You will have the glory of a dad stream at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. So in about 15 minutes. Dad will be doing his in-between stream. Where's my thing? What am I looking for now? My knife, that's what I'm looking for. Dad will be doing his in-between... No, I'm not looking for my knife. His in-between stream at 6 o'clock. Of course. For Dad goodness. Dad, do feel free to post a link in the chat. Not that you wouldn't anyway, but do it anyway. I don't know if it's Dad by himself. Or if he's got someone with him. And of course tonight is Warhamster night. I think tonight is I think it's Chris's week off. I think tonight's Warhamster is Ted. I'm going to guess that's going to be over on the Skipper Scale Model channel, and I suspect he's probably still working on his Hydra, and that'll be, I'm going to guess, because he's not here to pimp it, I'm going to guess that's going to be 9 o'clock. I haven't heard from Ted in a couple of days. I'm guessing it's 9 o'clock, but do check out Skipper Scale Model channel. It'll be on there scheduled. Or the Boom Hut, or even Skipper Scale Models Facebook page. It'll be on there somewhere. Not seen Ted do any Warhammer for a while. Make sure to watch that. I get the schmutz out of his little panel line there. It's testing me. Come on, schmutz, out you come. Yeah, better. Much better. Alright, so that's that. No seam. Oh, no, got a bit of mould line there. Let's get rid of that. Yep. Simon would not be happy with that. That's the problem when you're a professional painter. Or in Simon's case, when you can paint to that level where you can actually win an award. When you get to that level of painting skill, there really is no quickie paint job. Now, I'm nowhere near anything like that. I'm a half-assed amateur. Me, I don't claim to be any good at all. But even me at my meager painting ability level, to me, to paint something quick and fast that's not to the standard I normally like to paint is anathema. I can't do it. Now, I'm like I said, I'm not a massively skilled painter. I'm not like an award-winning painter or anything, so a quick slapdash paint job to me is a horrible idea because it's not what I normally do. So to imagine being a size level and having to do a quick slapdash paint job, he couldn't. That's why, it would take him a week to paint one Space Marine, because that's how he works. He can't, he's that level of skill and pride in his work. He can't just slapdash something together. It must be a nightmare. Especially if you're having to build like a force of like grunt troops like Astra Militarum. Imagine doing Imperial Guard, but not being able to do quickie paint jobs. It's like 200 Imperial Guard. Please spend the next 6 months painting them to a display standard. Oh no. Be fun, wouldn't it? I'm assuming that. I'm guessing Cameron can probably quite happily paint something with a quick crappy paint job with contrast paints and no effort. I'm sure he'd probably quite happy to do that. But I know from my experience, if it was me, I'd be like, oh, I can't do it. I can't just slap it together. I can't do it. Dad's put a link up. Lovely. Space Wolves and Death Corps be very cool, says Luke. I may have a gift that you can add to your Space Wolves army. Drop me a PM. Oh, thank you very much. I will happily accept gifts. I shall drop you a PM. I shall make a little note, otherwise I will forget. I'll make a little note on a different piece of paper to the other note that I wrote earlier on. I assume you just Black Rifle Works on the Facebooks, aren't you? I can't remember. I think you are. Works PM. Thank you very much. I'm never going to say no to an offer of free stuff. I mean, they get lovely gifts. It's funny in the books, the Primaris units can get deployed by a flyer transport on Forgeable website called Thunderhawk Gunship, but in game they can't. They can't. Yeah, they've got one that's a variant of the Thunderhawk called something else, but apparently it's been mentioned once in a book, in a fiction book, that they were dropped by some Stormhawk or something, or whatever it's called. And there's one other ship, there's one other thing mentioned, I think, vehicle, like troop transport, that's been mentioned. But it doesn't have a kit. But there's no kit for any of those. So, like, there is the Thunderhawk, but that's your 1,500 quid resin thing that you know. There's also the Astartes heavy tank as well. That's another Forge World big tank. And the thing is, if they've got a Primaris specific heavy tank, does that mean, you know, they can't use any others? It's like, wow. They are. I think they're going a bit now. I was going to say they're going a bit slow because, you know, you've got these new types of Space Marines. You could be churning out the vehicles left, right, and centre, and people will be lapping them up. And I don't know why they haven't done that. And then I remember, of course, the world's on fire and has been for the last year. Yeah, that may have had an effect, I suppose. But these have been out since what, 2018? I think the Primaris. They should have had like 5 different vehicle variations by now. They've gone very slowly with it. I don't understand the logic of not just launching Primaris with 10 different vehicle options that everybody would then just buy. No sense at all. No sense whatsoever. Mold line there. No mold line. Bad mold line. Thank you very much for that, Luke. I will drop you a little. I must stop calling. I don't know why I keep calling you Lee. I don't know what Lee in my head. I mean, I'm an idiot. This is probably why. I'm just a complete idiot, and I'm rubbish with names. I'll quite happily give you a pummer. We send him anything expensive though. I don't want expensive gifts. So that's craziness. But I do enjoy looking at your Space Wolves. I've seen them in Colin's group and in the Boom Hut. They are fantastic. There's just something about the colour scheme that I think I just really like. I think you do it really well, especially with the subtle weathering you give them. It's a really nice look. It's a good colour scheme that lends itself to subtle weathering. And I think, you know, what you've done is a really good, really outstanding bit of painting there. Very, very good. I enjoy seeing them as they come up. A bit of a blurb in his heel there. So yeah, so that's my plan anyway. I've got my Imperial Guard heavy army that I'll slowly build up and paint one day. I've got my Death Guard army that's, well, it's the force from Warhammer Conquest, so I'll have them. I can start working on them. I'll have a Death Guard army at some point. I'll have my Imperial army with its Death Corps and its Scions and Grunt troops. And then for Space Marines, I'll have my Space Puppies. Space Puppies! Space Puppies. Because at the end of the day, you can have many different units, but why would you not have Space Puppies? Have I just cleaned all these bits, like, really, really fastly? Somehow. I could actually get 2 more dudes built. I think. I'll just give them a quick double check. I think that's looking pretty good. Do it. Let's do this. That's the correct base. And set them for size. Wow, I could actually get 2 more dudes built in the last 20 minutes. The faster you get with it, the more you do, the faster you get. Apparently. Right, so we have also hot torso action. There we go. Fat glue and thin glue to the rescue. To the rescue. Glue all over there. Still gluing. I do apologise, you've just seen the back of my hand all day, but like I said before, I can't really go overhead with the camera because then I can't actually see around it. Squish and a bit of the extra thins. I will need to go back and clean the mould line on the belts for these, for all of these guys, but that's fine. Don't need to do it right now. I can get them on the base first. Get them on the base. But there is part of me as well. I'll have me Imperial. I'll have me Space Marine Space Puppies. I'll have me Death Corps for when I want to be the bad guys, or the other bad guys. But there is part of me that's been quite happily pimping orcs to Colin for the last few days. There is part of me that quite fancies building up an orc force, sorry, at some point, because I have had fun building them. And when I painted the dudes in the Dakajet, I actually enjoyed painting them. It's hard work painting like dudes, but it was actually a doddle painting those orcs because they were so crisply sculpted. I really enjoyed painting them. Where's this guy's leg go now? It makes no sense at all. How does this... Look at the picture, dear. Look at the picture. It was like... that. Okay. You know, I'll give them some weird poses, these guys. It's a weird pose time show. I've got a few orc vehicles and stuff, so at some point I may end up building a little orc force as well. At the moment, it might just be the ones I've got. I might just build a paint to sell, but that leg looks more digitigrade than actual plantigrade. Strange. A bit messy with the glue there, but we'll survive. We will live. Make sure that sits properly. Yes, fine. Digitigrade. I like that word. What's not to like about orcs? They're the comedy football hooligans of the 40k world. They're the much needed comedy relief, if you can consider football hooligans comedy relief of some sort. We'll give them a minute to dry, just to be less wibbly wobbly. Our Games Workshop shop is open just for shopping. That makes sense. Dad puts a link into his channel. Max says we've done that one. Oh no, there is the new Primaris Gladiator tank with different variants. I haven't seen that. I'll have a look at that. Black Rifle says Primaris Repulsor Execution is a great build and great in the game and can have troops inside it. With a bit of Wolfie aftermarket, it can fit right into a Space Wolves army. Yeah, I know, because you did a good job of yours. Really thinking I want to start a Tyranid army but the painting of them is beyond my skill set. Yes, although I don't know, Tyranids, when you see them in like the mass blob troops, I don't know what they're called, the little crappy ones, the little minion ones. They're often, a lot of people paint them really quickly, like glazes and the contrast paints and stuff, because they're kind of like flesh, carapace, dry brush, done. I've seen a lot of them really looking really good, and they're just really, really quick paint jobs. So even I could do them as quick paint. Deathkrieg, Space Puppies, and Orcs. Next, he will want Tyranids. No, don't want Tyranids. No interest in Tyranids. I will make my big Macarius Vanquisher tank my own distraction Carnifex. There you go. Yes. Or in fact, no, my distraction Carnifex will be my Slibarbo. Oh, you're all focused on that tank over there. Slimarbo comes out of cover, takes you all out, and goes away again. There you go. See. Here. Yeah, I have no interest in turrets. I'll tell you what I do like, though, and I will get some at some point and make them, it's Sigmar, though, it's not 40k, is the Seraphon, because they're all the dinosaur dudes, aren't they? Skinks and stuff. I quite like the look of the Seraphon, with all the dinosaur-y thing. I must get some Seraphon stuff at some point, and just to make them and paint them. I've still got... I do have the Sigmar shouty space horse to paint. You know, the thing with the bloke on the back, the big shouty space griffin thing, whatever it is. I have no interest in Sigmar as a game, but I do like the look of some of their models. Especially Skinks, the Seraphon with the dinosaurs, and the Skaven with the rats. If they could bring Skaven into 40k, that might make up for not having Deathcore for a bit. I'd quite happily build some Skaven in 40k, that'd be mint. Imagine like a Skaven commando squad with little gas masks and helmets. Little sort of rat-shaped gas mask, that'd be fantastic. Or, you know, Seraphon. Is it Seraphon? Is it the Seraphon with the dinosaur dudes and the skinks and stuff? I don't know. I just know they've got dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are always the correct answer. If there's ever a question, the answer is always dinosaurs. Doesn't matter what the question is. The question's irrelevant. Have you been to the shops today, John? Oh, dinosaurs. Excellent. Are you having an affair, dear? Dinosaurs. Ah, yes, dinosaurs. Issue changed. Yes, always good. Dinosaurs is always the correct answer. When did you last see your father? Dinosaurs. Where are you hiding the priest? Dinosaurs. Ah, excellent. We shall leave. So, there we go. Blimey, Riley, I built 6 dudes. Look at that. I've not built 6 dudes, I built 6 bits of dudes. That's true, but my OCD wouldn't allow me to paint them like that, says Black Rifle. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier on. If it was like if I had 100 of the termagants to paint, termagant, the little grunt dudes, I probably would paint them quickly like that. Like when I've got all my Poxwalkers for my Death Guard, I'm just going to paint them with the whatchamacallit, what they call contrast paints. Not for the trousers, like this guy here. The flesh stuff, all that green and pus stuff, that was literally 3 different of the contrast paints done really quickly. When this was on the open day when they were showing them off, just to get the rotten flesh look. What I would do, of course, is go back in and paint the trousers properly and any tools and equipment and burpage and paint the horns properly. But just for getting the flesh done, you can't really see on camera, but for that proper putrid flesh look, contrast paints came out really well for that. So that's where I would do some corner cutting, I think. And I could live with that. But I'm the same. I couldn't do a quick rush paint job. That's what I was saying before. Even I can't do a quick rush paint job, so it must be terrible if you're an award winner. My Tyranids are painted gold carapace and silver flesh to represent eating metal materials on the planet, says Max. Cool. I like that. Lee says... Lee. Stop calling him Lee. Luke says to Colin, I'm very much in the rabbit hole. I have a gaming table of 2,000 point army. I am learning the rules and reading the lore. I love it. I'm in the rabbit hole, but I haven't got an army together because I buy a bit of one and then buy a bit of another one and then I never paint them. I bought the rule book and the codex for Astra Militarum for 8th edition when 8th edition first came out, and I haven't played a game yet, and they're already out of date. And I also bought the Forge World Armour of the Imperium for my Death Corps, and I haven't even painted them yet. And that's already out of date, so yeah. I'm not going to buy another codex now until I'm actually about to go and play, because then I know I can use it. I also have like 100 dice. Colin says, oh my god, I have hope. I have no hope now then. Yes. Hey Muse. Oh, Muse is giving lots of hearts to Col. Yes. I don't know, Colin, can you fit a 6 foot by 4 foot gaming table in your house? Saving you having to go anywhere to play. Or would you have to go to play? You could have to wheel yourself into a place and play. You could do that. 6 foot by 4 foot is the minimum table size. You've got a full-size gaming table, Luke. You've got a big house. I'd love that, but I've got nowhere to put a 6 by 4 foot table. What time are we on? 59 there. Right, so anyway, I'm going to have to go because Dad's going to start his stream any minute. So I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. We've got 6 dudes done. I'll be back next Sunday with more of these guys. I just realised it's nearly Dad time. I'll be back tomorrow with the eModels Monday show with Colin, Chris and Ted, so watch us then. I'll probably be filming the next Orc Flyer thing throughout the week, so stay tuned for that towards the end of the week, hopefully. Until then, I might be back on Friday with Fallout, but if not, I'll be back on Saturday with Skyrim. I shall see you then. I'll end it now because I've got to let Dad start. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe. Don't forget to consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/modelmakingguru or clicking on the join button underneath any of my videos to become a channel member. Until then, I shall say, go and watch Dad scaling models. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. Adios, amoebas. Where's the button? Where's the button?